I said you better watch what you're doing, 'cause I ain't gonna stop when I'm moving. I'm headed to the top, I'ma do it. I'm headed to the top, I'ma prove it. And I could go all night, I'm sick of being nothing. All right, I'm gonna be something. I'll fight with every breath, trust me. I'ma be the one at the top, you can't touch me. I bleed with every word coming. I would rather die than be someone who's nothing. I'm the type of dude who will not remain nameless. I'm the type of dude who is headed for greatness. I'm the type of dude who could really make changes, 'cause I'm the type of dude that's becoming contagious. I'm the type of dude that will always be ageless. I'm the type of dude that will always feel shameless. I'm the type of dude that they say is fucking heinous, 'cause I'm the type of dude that you know is fucking dangerous.
You are absolutely right. The way he went about it was absolutely wrong. Like, so, like I said, I'm not
of my Jewish hatred that actually goes. Other than the fact that, why are y'all popping out of the sewers in New York City?
Annunciation Catholic Church. You couldn't call it pronounced Catholic Church?
Yeah, pronounce the Catholic.
You got the nose job you always wanted.
Ooh, I'm normally against plastic surgery. I'll be honest. I don't like it at all. But in this case, like, yeah, do that.
Everybody's beautiful. Yeah, in God's image. Fortunately for her, he gave me eyesight and said, let there be light. Bam, that's already a leg up. Fuck.
Damn. You can say that she needed that, right? Like, I can, you can. She looked like a toucan. I will say, though, her husband's in for a surprise when their first child comes out looking like Gru.
You might want to prepare him, because he's going to think you cheated on somebody who was really into schmeckles, you know what I mean?
Well, it's sad that she thought she had to do that to look prettier. She did. I'm tired of you guys lying to each other. Okay, you guys use jealousy and mask it as acceptance. I don't know if it's because you want as many ugly people around as possible so you have a higher standing, or maybe it's a misery loves company kind of thing.
Nobody gets better if you run around telling everybody they're perfect all the goddamn time. And if you don't agree with me, that's fine. Get fucked and stay fucked, you ugly bitch. Merchant's bio. Okay, bye.
He's not wrong, though. Come on now. Going from that to where is it? That nose made a huge ass difference. Number one. Number two, why is she now looking more like Laura Loomer? What the fuck is happening with people? Why are women... Okay, this one was needed, but why are women doing them to themselves? You're going to see, like, puffy-ass fucking cheeks. She's going to get, like, cheek surgery done, and she's going to look like the fucking Saul doll, too. Is this the beginning of Laura Loomer? Like, what happened here? Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, how y'all doing today? We're going to go into this real quick. I got a few things that I do want to bring up again today before we get into this hearing, though. Let me get rid of this because it's just going to continue to throw me off. I can't have it on my screen. All right. While we're doing this, I'm going to take it with the chat. But how y'all doing today? We need peace. And hey. And yeah. Wes gave you the subscription. We're going to do another one tomorrow. Another one of these hearings. Okay, it'll be members only. It's going to be a hearing tomorrow, but this one's going to be about the COVID, the CIA COVID whistleblower. What's up, Jim tells you? We got Boom Boom. We got Mark. Yeah, we got Glenn's with us there, and Cultic. How y'all doing? But I feel like my mic is still just not. Did my cloud lifter go out? How the fuck is this working? All right, let's pull that down a bit then. I've been messing with this thing for so fucking long. Look, yep, it had to go out because it's not even picking up anymore. All right, so if I boost it, everything makes fucking sense now. I figured out the. All right, I'm gonna have to eliminate that whole thing altogether. I'm sorry, guys. I just figured out the problem. You have no fucking idea how much this has been pissing me off. The only passive thing in the situation or in the system altogether is the problem. But somehow everything makes sense if I think about it from a logical electrical standpoint. Never mind. My problem, not yours. Sorry. But I do. I'm an asshole. I'm an idiot. I didn't even. All right. Number one. Yeah. You broke it, dude. Yeah. Yeah, I did. I did. See, I'm just trying to check it in OBS, and the way my mic is spiking. Like, I can shut it down, wait about 10 minutes, bring it all back up again, and the mic will be spiking way higher than it should. And it's a problem. But yeah, I got it figured out. I understand. I'll eliminate that. I got to get it out of here. But anyway, check this shit out. I'm going to have to take away the chats on the screen there for you guys real quick, though. Apparently, there was an explosive device found in an Alabama reservoir. It was from the bomb squad that forgot their shit was out there. Check this out.
Yeah, that explosion was controlled and intentional. A grenade-type explosive device was found underwater at Big Creek Lake, the primary drinking water supply for the Mobile area. The Mobile area water and sewer system, MA, is saying divers found this improvised explosive device while surveying the lake's dam for routine repairs. A multi-agency bomb squad team, including the FBI, Mobile County Sheriff's Office, and state law enforcement, retrieved and safely destroyed it, as you just saw. Moz says the drinking water supply was not affected. Big Creek Lake is federally designated critical infrastructure, and Homeland Security has been notified. We're trying to find out where the IED came from, if it's been there for some time, or if investigators think it was placed there.
And again, this was at a Mobile, Alabama water reservoir here. This grenade-type IED discovered by divers, and I would say it was strategically placed there. IEDs don't accidentally show up in places, especially on critical infrastructure.
I'm just going to leave it right there with that. But let's get into this one right here. Check this out. I don't give a damn about your 7-day free pass here. I'm not going to do that. A routine dive repaired at a federal recognized Mobile dam. Yeah. Words. A routine dive repair at a federally recognized Mobile dam led to an unexpected discovery as divers found a hidden explosive device Tuesday, according to the Mobile area water. Okay. Mobile, Alabama is it's a little tip of it, right? Where the reservoir or the water comes in. They have a reservoir from that shit because of storm damage, right? After the grenade type IED was located in Converse Dam, Mobile County was facilitated. Blah, 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 blah. Where the fuck is this one? This is an unprecedented threat. We are fortunate that this device was discovered before it could cause serious damage to our water supply or harm individuals. We are grateful for the professionalism and competency in our law enforcement partners, as well as the quick thinking of contractors and divers in the identifying of this safety destroys. Other agencies involved in the operation, FBI, Bomb Squad, Department of Homeland Security, were notified. Apparently, from what I can understand about this story is, the bomb squad was using some shit and somebody forgot it was out there. Now, if y'all have heard this, y'all know what's coming into here. We got the FBI fucking headquarters that was supposedly being thrown around here. I don't think that's actually going to happen, though. We got Space Force moving in. We got NASA here. We do have FBI training here in the fucking the arsenal out here. Yo, that doesn't look good, right? Knowing that's here, knowing these motherfuckers went to a reservoir down there just to do a little training. And they left an active fucking device for training in our reservoir. How the fuck do you not know? I'm serious though. How the fuck do you not know? Because you would have to account for every explosive device that comes back. You got one missing. What is this? Somebody wants to cover their fucking ass? And then all the way throughout the chain of command, somebody's going to have to cover their ass because somebody else covered their ass? Like, how the fuck do you explain that, though? Too convenient, I think. Oopsie, blew the dam. No. No. And I'll tell you why we need peace. Do you remember that story about that explosive device that went off on that police training area? Me and Davey, we were covering all that. Apparently, the explosive device went off in the fucking vehicle. Maybe it might have hit or anything, but we were checking all that. Everything that they were saying at that point in time, that it literally sounds like it winds up being incompetence. When you look back at every bit of that, the reporting of it, the things that they were actually showing, without actually having any commentary over it, just watch the aerial view of it and look at the area for yourself. That seems like straight up incompetence. This could be the same. Somebody just wanted to cover their ass, but that would also mean that everybody else had to cover their ass because they didn't want to call out somebody else that covered their ass. To a whole point that a live fucking explosive was found. And they detonated this shit. Now, at that point, whether it was viable or not, I don't know. But, yeah, they used another explosive to kill this confirmed explosive device that was left by training. Dude, I don't even fucking know, man. I don't even fucking know. Like, I cannot account for that shit. FBI bomb squad leaves something out there, and it just all along the chain of command, everybody's like, oh shit. We got a missing fucking bomb. Shut the fuck up. Nobody say anything. It does sound a little fucking strange when you put it that way, though, doesn't it? I don't know whether to write this up as incompetence or just like, holy shit, now you're trying to attack Mobile? Now this comes right after the fucking redistricting bullshit that actually, it looks like it's going to pass for Alabama. They're looking at 9, maybe even 10 seats fucking now. Upwards of 12 to 18 at most if they want to push it all the way the fuck through. Alabama got involved. That's scary. I'm going to be honest, that worried the fuck out of me. Look, Kay Ivey ain't done a motherfucking thing. The only thing she has actually done in this whole cultural war with anything that's actually been going on with the states, the only thing she has ever done is promise to send National Guard to the border or to Texas for the border if she needed to. I think she actually called up some of our reserves. I'll have to actually check into that, but that's the only thing she's ever fucking done. And as soon as the Supreme Court hit, she's like, redistrict this shit now. Special session, let's fucking go. I'm just like, okay. Fuck. I've been calling it out. I have, what is it? That Indivisible group came to our area. We've had no King's protest, which is amazingly in my fucking town that they had no King's protest. And nobody showed up. The last time there was literally like 7, 8 people and it was only their fucking group. And nobody was paying attention. They all avoided that section that they had rented out for their protest. It was fucking great. But I will avoid it. No, you have no fucking clue, dude. You take the scientist missing thing into the equation when you look at Huntsville, you have no fucking clue. I've been on this base, I understand, and I will say this. There is a reason Redstone fucking Arsenal is built on a limestone quarry. And if you don't know what that means, maybe you should look up what absorbs nuclear radiation. Anyway, America's Untold Stories. Thank you for the raid, guys. But I don't know what to think about this, honestly, because if this is a thing, apparently, from what I'm gathering from this whole goddamn situation, is it was an FBI training, and a bomb just came up missing. And taking everything into account, I don't understand what to think about this. This is Mobile, Alabama. This is, I mean, it's on the other side of the state for me, but this comes right after Governor Meemaw gets involved in the culture and political warfare. I mean, the timing is really fucking sus, is it not, though? I don't know what to think. I just picked up on this not too long ago. I haven't really looked into it other than to tell you that. But normally things like this I just pick up on, and I can never find anything past this kind of point because this shit dies in our fucking media unless people make a fucking stink about this. But I don't know what to think about this, honestly, because I can see it both ways. I can Mobile, with the redistricting Alabama does, Mobile would be a hotbed. Hold on. No Kings. Protesters rally in downtown against the war in Iran. This is March 29th of 2026.
Also taking place in downtown Mobile this afternoon, a protest against the war in Iran and other policies by the Trump administration. A protest was staged by Indivisible Mobile in connection with what's called the No Kings movement. The demonstration also protested what he called unlawful actions by ICE, as well as Customs and Border Patrol officials against American citizens and immigrants with and without legal status and other.
Let me ask you a question. You seeing all these people here? Mobile, Alabama is like the biggest cities are Huntsville, Birmingham, and Mobile. Mobile is right there on the very southern tip. Birmingham is pretty much midway into the state. A little more north than midway into the state. Huntsville is right there on the northern border. In most instances from those areas, you got Mississippi and Georgia that are pretty much equal distance. However you go through, north to, from Huntsville to both, Birmingham to both, Mobile to both, it's pretty much equal fucking distance. But from Mobile to Georgia's a little bit more because you have to actually get out of the foot right there in Alabama. But anyway, it's pretty much the same distance. Mobile is a hotbed for this shit because Mobile was a gerrymandered fucking district. I'm starting to see a different, deeper connection with all this shit. Mobile. I think there was one in Birmingham. One in Birmingham, one in Mobile. And they tried to do one in Huntsville. They just got half of what they actually really wanted. that means this presence is fucking organized as shit. There ain't no way this is grassroots. Most of these motherfuckers are getting paid. Because, by the way, why are they all old? And that is a thing. When the first No Kings that I was railing about on this fucking channel, when that first No Kings was hitting my fucking area that's got me yelling at a billboard, it was a good 20, 30, maybe 40 people deep that were walking around the square at that time, and I could point out who they were. You got nothing here. You came back a second time. You got fucking nothing. But something like this, and this makes it more believable in Mobile than it would for my area. Y'all are some conniving motherfuckers. Anyway.
Issues as well.
We're saying, hey, we don't want a war with Iran. We want...
As an Alabamian, sorry, as an Alabamian, this is not going to actually do shit. I'll show you why. Yes, this is on the other side of the state. I get you. I fucking get you. No. I'm going to show you the northern side of the state. Y'all have seen it multiple times.
Who else is going? Who is walking there? But who else?
I know how bad they are. Why don't they just walk the gutters? It ain't a far walk. It's just 38 miles. Why don't you walk? Why don't you walk the gutters?
Can you walk the gutters before?
I'll walk. Yeah, I can walk the gutters. Why don't you walk the gutters?
I don't need...
You know why I fucking love this? Real talk, no bullshit. You know why I fucking love this clip? My mother and my father had an argument one day while my dad was at work. She did not go pick his ass up. From Huntsville, Alabama to Gunnersville, Alabama is 39 fucking miles. One fucking way. From... at that point, I will say it, Fayetteville, Tennessee to Huntsville, Alabama was 27 miles one way. My dad worked in Huntsville at that point in time. The actual distance was 31.2 fucking miles. My mother refused to pick up my father from work because she had pissed him off while he was at work. He walked that fucking distance. It didn't say a fucking thing. Came home, took a shower, ate dinner after he had microwaved it, and went to bed. That was the only time I have ever seen my father so rageful. I mean, I was expected to just be like, oh, there's some shit going down tonight. Nope, he didn't do it. She made him walk 32 goddamn miles. He wound up coming home at 2:30 in the fucking morning. Took a shower, ate dinner, went to bed, got up at 6:30 in the morning to do it all over again. Not the walking part. No, the next day she did take him back and forth to work, but she fucking did that shit. Motherfucker got home at 2:30, took a shower, ate dinner, went to bed. By that time, he had literally like an hour and a half, 2 hours worth of fucking sleep before he got up and went back to work. And that is why this clip will always fucking hold a point in my fucking heart.
Well, shit, no, you don't. You're gonna put everybody else walking the gunners. Why don't you just walk the gunners?
All right, I want to.
All right, let's go.
All right, hang on. Let me do this one.
And by the way, that's not my father.
Man, let's go walking. How about strutting that ass? You'll be so goddamn fucking tired, the time you get to New Hope, you won't be strutting that ass. You'll be so goddamn fucking tired by the time you get to New Hope that you won't be strutting that ass. You'll be.
Well, what's got you so mad today?
Me?
Yeah.
Because everybody wants to run. Everybody wants to run. That's good. Run here to Gunners. Well, I'll walk. I'll be right behind them and see how far they can run. It's a chauvinistic pig attitude.
Not good for the IQ claim, right? But, hold up. It's a southern slang retard that everybody wants to throw out, but he is fucking right. You're gonna run your ass. You're gonna be like, I got 39 goddamn miles. Let's get there as quick as we can. Meanwhile, I'm just gonna trot my ass along and just swing my little fucking legs. I got 39 goddamn miles, motherfucker. I don't care how long it's gonna take me. I'm gonna fucking do it. The tortoise and the hare situation. He is fucking correct. He just said it in the dumbest goddamn way possible.
That you're gonna do something because you work at the arsenal and you got a fucking Mercedes-Benz and you ain't gotta walk every day, so you're gonna get out and strut that ass, strut that ass, strut that ass, strut that ass, strut that ass. When you start walking, my friend, and you get 10 and 15 miles on the highway, you won't be strutting that ass. You'll be half dead by the time you get there. So it's a chauvinistic pig attitude that Clinton's got. Strut that ass, strut that ass, strut that ass, strut that ass. And when you walk about 15 or 20 miles, you won't be strutting that ass. You'll be so fucking tired, you won't be hard to hold that ass up. You won't be strutting that ass, strutting that ass. You won't be strutting that ass when
You're gonna tell me if that is to the north of me. However, this is to the south of me. How the fuck is this possible? There ain't no fucking way. No, that actually clip comes back from back there when we had the gas prices and everything, and everybody was complaining about how gas went from over a fucking dollar, and then it quickly went to $1.20 when I started driving that kind of situation. And everybody was complaining because the only ones it didn't affect were high earners, like the people who worked at the arsenal. Most of this area might have been like bullshit factories, the ones you never hear about. We didn't have Amazon in this area. We did the best we had was the Space and Rocket Center and University of Alabama, Huntsville. But what? We had Walmart. Woo! A Target was here. Hell yeah! We didn't have shit else. And that's that fucking time when these motherfuckers, you were like, okay, it was at that point when the cost of living really started to creep up on the comfortability of pay. That's when it actually fucking hit. And that's why I'm just like, hey, look, when you're talking about your cost of living versus my cost of living for the same thing that I do, yes, in every other bit of area. Probably in most of your areas, I would get paid 2, 3, 4 times as much as I'm getting paid. But I would also have to pay 2, 3, 4 times as much in bills because of the cost of living. Or roughly about that. And so that's why I've been bitching so much about the fucking gas prices, because yes, it hurts when I have to shove 50, 60 fucking bucks into my goddamn gas tank just to get back and forth to work, when it was just 25, 30, 25 if I wanted to push it for the week, but 30 altogether to just do that not too long ago. Yes, it fucking hurts. But you're going to sit there and tell me, from that contrast, yes, there is a difference. A huge fucking difference from the Clinton area till now. One thing about the northern part of Alabama is largely never fucking changed. Until now. Like all my fucking life, I've lived close to this area or damn near in it. Even Huntsville didn't expand until the last 10 years. Madison came up with it was the uppity, the rich community. Everybody that worked at the Arsenal lived in Madison because they had money. They could do so. They could afford that. We got a goddamn little league baseball team called the Rocket City Trash Pandas. That is actually true. Rocket City Trash Pandas. Look at the fuck up. It's true. But anyway, we have come this far with construction and everything. But largely, not a bit of sentiment about anything has ever changed in this community. We have seen a huge influx of migrants, thanks to Biden. And I guarantee you, I can't prove it, but yes, he did use military fucking... there was military movement to bring migrants into our area. There were things that landed at the Arsenal that we saw a boom in migrant activity in our area not too long after that. Anyway, which I will tell you this, it's fucking amazing. It's quietly been done. But if you look back and you look back at everything Alabama related with ICE, construction sites are empty. So when you're talking about this explosive device here, I don't know what to fucking think about it. Other than the fact that, maybe it could be a warning sign, maybe that you are this fucking incompetent. It can go both ways at this point. And I do want to say, before we get into the hearing, though, Steve Cohen is dropped from the re-election bid after redistricting Tennessee. This motherfucker can't make it without the black vote, apparently. But anyway. Let's get to this hearing because I want to hear. I want to get into this. I want to hear this. I just wanted to fuck around with that story for a minute because it's close to home, and I can see both happening. But let's go back to the very beginning. I gotta pee. I'll be right back.
The committee will come to order. The COVID-19 pandemic was one of the most consequential events of our lifetime. And to this day, the American people have never received a full accounting of where it came from, what our government knew, and why they had to fight their own government to find out. Today, the committee will hear from an intelligence community whistleblower about these questions. The witness will testify that the CIA scientific analysts repeatedly concluded that a laboratory leak was the most likely origin of COVID-19, and that those conclusions were buried, softened, or withheld from Congress while the public was told to trust a different story. For years, Americans were told to trust the experts, trust the agencies, trust the intelligence community, and trust the officials who assured us that they were following the science. But the evidence before the committee tells a very different story. Today, we will expose a system in which a small circle of officials, scientists, grantees, and intelligence advisors move from agencies to agency, meeting to meeting, briefing to briefing, reviewing one another's work and shaping one another's conclusions and presenting those conclusions to Congress and the public as if they were independent conclusions. Only it was not independent. It was a circle. One part of that circle is a body most
What's been on that digital baboon sign lately? The same shit, dude. That they have to be spending. I've looked into it. They have to be spending at least $5,000 goddamn dollars a week with what's up there. It's still more than half the content of that fucking billboard. They have to be spending $5,000 a week for absolutely no goddamn return whatsoever. Probably even less than what they could have done had they not kept it up. I've talked to a lot of people around here, and they're just so fed up with the dumb shit that's on that billboard. That they may not know the entire thing, but they know it's bullshit.
Americans have never heard of. The Biological Sciences Expert Group, known as BSEG, or the B Group. BSEG operates under the Office of the Director of National Intelligence. Its stated purpose is to give the intelligence community access to outside...
Holy shit, I just saw this. A Dean's raccoon, trash pandas? I might find that offensive. Hold up. I got something even more fucking offensive for you. I swear to motherfuck. Next time I'm going to take a picture of it. I'm going to send it to you. And there is a sign. When you're on Highway 431, 231, going through the south end of fucking Huntsville, Alabama, there is a sign on the side of the road that says, coon hunting something something, call this number. I'm in Alabama. And somehow nobody said shit about this shit, right? But yeah, I was just looking at that. I was coming back home from work one day, and I had to go that route just to come back home from work. It was the quickest way. I saw that sign, and I was like, God damn. I mean, I know Coleman, Alabama had that thing that said, don't let the sun set on your black ass. I mean, I get that. I understand that. But this just, coon hunting, are we doing this? I know what it is. You're actually hunting down raccoons. Get you. You pay money to go hunting raccoons. But that just sounds bad coming from the South, you know? I want to take a picture of that sign again. It's just so funny to me because I'm just like, I get it. I understand. But any other motherfucker that doesn't know the area... And knowing the story of Pulaski, Tennessee, which is literally at that point like 45 minutes away, and knowing Coleman, Alabama, which is again probably about 45 minutes, maybe an hour away. And then but if you look at the story of the Rocket City Trash Panda shit, that shit is amazing as hell because it's amazing as fuck. Because everybody thought it was a fucking meme. I swear to fucking God, dude. It was an official vote. They didn't have like an official vote on a ballot or anything like that. Like we go out and vote of official fucking tally. No. This was an official vote on a website as to what would be the best name. The citizens got to choose. Hold on. How trash pandas? No. Let me go back. A word on the Rocket City trash pandas? Yeah. And basically what had happened is they put this out on this website and everybody was going to vote. It was an official fucking vote. However, the names came up from everybody who thought it was a fucking meme. They were just going to meme the shit out of it. But it was an official site to name these motherfuckers. We had some weird ass fucking names like the tornadoes and all of the type shit. Trash pandas was the funniest. We were just like, okay, so this entire time, this has been a meme. This is a meme website then. It has to be. There's no way this is... And no, it was an official fucking vote. And we dumbass motherfuckers voted ourselves to be raccoons, the trash pandas. We memed ourselves into existence. I swear to God, this story is fucking epic. The dumb shit that has actually happened in my area is fucking astounding. Especially when you put into the amount of actual intelligence that is in this area. The contrast is night and goddamn day. It just means we don't take life fucking serious, man. I swear to God, there was an argument when they were appealing the name the Trash Pandas because, okay, so we're just calling ourselves trash and pandas. That's culturally insensitive. Are you saying no? Trash pandas are raccoons. I swear to God, that the biggest fucking argument is. Okay, culturally, trash pandas are raccoons. Marvel's gonna sue us because we use a raccoon. Because of Rocket Raccoon. And how they call him a trash panda. And Disney will sue us because of Trash Panda. This is the dumbest story I have ever fucking heard, where every single person I have ever talked to about this in this area was like, wait, that was real? And now they're like, yay, go Trash Pandas. We memed ourselves into fucking existence. Let's go. To the point to where their first fucking season of VIP passes, everything about their first fucking season was sold out in 2 weeks. We built a fucking studio for the Rocket City Trash Pandas. We sold everything the fuck out in 2 goddamn weeks. Opening game was gone the day they released the fucking tickets. We own that shit, motherfuckers. We are the Trash Pandas. I fucking love it. I fucking love it, dude. This it just goes to show you how much we really don't take life seriously, but all at the same time we fucking do. Trash Can Pandas is a cooler name. I'm just saying, Trash Panda, that was a cultural thing. Everybody, we memed ourselves into existence, realized it was real, and just like, all right, fuck it. Let's roll with it. I mean, that's what we do here, right? Let's go back. Where the fuck is it? Oh, yeah. CIA whistleblower. Here we go.
Had scientific experts on biological threats. Sounds reasonable, but not if those experts are not independent. For example, Dr. Ralph Baric collaborated with Dr. Zhengli Shi in Wuhan to create gain-of-function coronaviruses. But Dr. Baric was also part of BSEG and an active consultant to intelligence agencies on the origins of COVID-19 pandemic. Likewise, Peter Daszak received hundreds of millions of dollars from the U.S. government and worked with Dr. Shi also on these gain-of-function experiments. Daszak was even sent to China with the WHO to investigate the origins of COVID. So the very scientists that were commissioned to investigate COVID were, in some cases, the very scientists who were complicit in the origins of the gain-of-function experiments that may well have created COVID. In essence, the intelligence community pays researchers to review work and write papers. NIH funds their grants. The CIA then consults them and gives them access to classified information. The national academies publish their work. Policymakers then cite the result as a consensus. But it's a circle. At the center of the government side of this circle was Dr. Anthony Fauci. For years, Dr. Fauci was not merely a public health official speaking from the NIH. He had a long-standing relationship with the national security and intelligence apparatus on biological threats, dangerous pathogens, classified life sciences researches, pandemic preparedness, and COVID origins. Again and again, documents show him being brought into national security discussions far beyond ordinary public health messaging. During COVID, intelligence officials arranged for Dr. Fauci to review highly classified intelligence assessments that could not even be sent outside the White House complex. But how can Anthony Fauci objectively comment on a discussion of COVID origins when he approved the very funding that may have caused the pandemic virus? From the outset of the pandemic, Dr. Fauci shaped the conclusions. Dozens of times, he referred to the idea that the pandemic originating in the lab was a conspiracy, that it was a conspiracy theory. Dr. Fauci convened the now infamous February 1st, 2020 call. Some scientists on that call privately raised serious concerns about a laboratory origin. Yet, ironically, those same scientists later co-authored the proximal origin paper, which publicly dismissed the lab leak hypothesis. One author received a $9 million grant from Dr. Fauci's own agency after he changed his opinion from lab leak on the private phone call to natural origin in public. At the same time, Dr. Fauci coordinated with the national academies on coronavirus origins and public-facing messaging. These were not independent experts reaching a consensus. They were part of the same machine, designed to reach the same conclusion. The question is not whether the government may consult experts. The question is whether those experts were independent, whether conflicts were disclosed, whether dissenting views were preserved, whether the lab leak possibility was fairly evaluated, and whether Congress and the American people received the truth or a curated result. When Congress asked these questions, government officials lied to our face. They classified the documents. They suppressed the information. They changed the definitions. They invoked sources and methods. They told Congress only what they wanted Congress to know. In 2023, John Ratcliffe, the former director of national intelligence, testified before Congress with a stark warning. He said a lab leak was the only explanation credibly supported by intelligence, science, and common sense. He warned that partisan politics and analyst disagreement with Trump administration policy, Trump derangement syndrome, had created illegitimate roadblocks to the truth. I agree. He said the COVID-19 Origin Act, which Congress passed unanimously, should finally make intelligence on COVID's origins public. I couldn't agree more. Despite a unanimously passed law, though, requiring the declassification of all information related to COVID origins, the deep state still resists this congressional mandate. Our witness today will explain what happened inside the CIA. According to his testimony, CIA scientific analysts concluded multiple times between 2021 and 2023 that a lab leak was the most likely origin of COVID-19. Yet those conclusions never shaped the official narrative, never made the intelligence report. Congress was never told. It was not until after the 2024 election that the outgoing Biden administration directed the CIA to issue an assessment, not because of new intelligence, but so officials could walk out of the door claiming there was nothing left to find. That is not analysis, that is a cleanup operation. This hearing is about more than one witness, one assessment, or one agency. It's about a federal apparatus that told the American people to trust the science while hiding the machinery that shaped the science. It's about an intelligence community that relied on outside experts whose conflicts were never disclosed. It's about public health officials with access to intelligence that Congress has struggled to obtain. It's about researchers and advisors cycling through grants, contracts, classified briefings, federal service and advisory committees, and presenting the results as independent, even though they weren't. The cover-up is not just about protecting one research grant, it's about...
Wait. Rand's drunk-ass son, William, embarrassed him going on a drunk rant in a D.C. bar against Jews in front of Mike Lawler, who William thought was a Jew yesterday. Hold on.
Protecting an entire network of labs, grants, intermediaries, and bureaucratic architecture quietly engineered to outlast any moratorium, any congressional inquiry, and any election. After millions died, children lost years of learning. Small businesses were destroyed. Civil liberties were restricted, and dissenting Americans were censored and smeared. The government owes its people the evidence. Our witness is testifying publicly today at great personal risk. He and other brave whistleblowers have come forward because the truth was being buried, because government secrecy cannot become government impunity. I want to acknowledge the Trump administration officials who made good on their commitment to transparency and cooperated with this investigation. Secretary of Health and Human Services Robert F. Kennedy, Director of NIH Jay Bhattacharya, Director of the National Intelligence Tulsi Gabbard, and former Secretary of Homeland Security.
I'm sorry. No, this is actually fucking true. Oh my God. Hold on. Let me hit the Midas touch one. Oh God, this is gonna be great. I'm sorry. Hold on.
You talk about it all? What happened last night at the bar?
I was getting dinner because it's one of the few places that actually serves food after 10 o'clock.
Yeah.
And
this one at the tune-in?
Yeah.
Oh, is it? Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's one of the few places around here that actually has food. So Rand Paul's son was belligerent and drunk, sitting at the bar, and at one point jumped into a conversation I was having with a friend and a reporter who was there, and went on an anti-Semitic tirade for about 10 minutes about a whole host of things, including blaming, quote-unquote, my people if Thomas Massie loses his primary. And when I asked him who my people are, he said Jews, and proceeded to go on a tirade about how he hates Jews, hates gays, and doesn't care if they die.
So he thought you were Jewish? Is that it?
He thought I was Jewish, yes.
Okay. That's odd. Sorry that happened to you. Sorry.
Well, I mean, whether I was Jewish or am Catholic, the whole diatribe was obviously disgraceful and disgusting.
Any message to Senator Paul?
Look, I'll defer to the senator on whatever he wants to say about it. Obviously, you know, if it was my child, I'd be mortified, but, you know.
You can say anything and everything about white people except the Jewish white people. Holy fuck. He's not even white, I'll admit that, but goddamn, son. You know how much he wants to crack jokes about this, right? Let's just be, because I'd do it too. I'd have to. I'd be like, yeah, this dude went on a fucking tirade about Jews and gays and everything like that, and then he just called them my people. Like, I'm Jewish. Yeah, it was funny as fuck. This dude thought I was Jewish as hell. Yeah, I mean, he's Rand Paul's son. Fuck him. You know, whatever he wants to think. I just found it hilarious. The dude thought I was Jew. That means you don't understand what Jews are, right? Goddamn. That is fucking... I love living in this time frame right now. I don't know why. It's just so goddamn fun to me now. I used to fucking hate it. It used to rage me the fuck out. I still get annoyed at stupid ass goddamn people, but there's some of these things like this. Fuck the Jews, fuck the gays. Oh, why are you screaming at me? 'Cause you're Jew. No, I'm not. I'm Catholic. Oh, my bad. This is some of the dumbest fucking shit I've ever seen, but it's enraging but entertaining at the same damn time. I gotta pee. I've been drinking. I gotta pee. Hold up.
Christie Nome, they set a standard. I expect the rest of the administration to meet it. We owe the American people a complete record. We owe every family harmed by this pandemic a government that does not hide behind secrecy, conflicts, and curated science when the stakes are life and death in public starting today. I want to note for the record that Mr. Erdman is appearing today pursuant to a subpoena issued by this committee on May 5th, 2026. This is a public hearing. The witness is a current CIA employee and has previously provided testimony to the committee in a classified setting. If a question calls for classified information, or if the witness believes any answer may implicate classified information, the witness should advise the committee before answering, and the committee will address the matter through the appropriate procedures. The transcript of the witness's prior classified deposition has not been finalized and has not completed classification review. Members and the witness should not quote from, characterize, or seek confirmation of deposition testimony that may contain classified information in this public setting. It is a practice of this committee to swear in the witness. Will you please stand and raise your right hand? Do you swear that the testimony you will give before this committee will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? So help you God. Thank you. You may be seated. James Erdman III is a CIA senior operations officer. He's a decorated officer with decades of intelligence and national security experience. Before joining the CIA in 2013, he served with the 2nd Battalion, 75th Ranger Regiment, and as a Foreign Services officer at the Department of State. He recently completed a joint duty assignment with the Office of the Director of National Intelligence Director Initiatives Group. Mr. Erdman holds a Bachelor of Science in Biology with a minor in Chemistry from Western Oregon University and has received the Director of National Intelligence Award and the CIA Intelligence Medal of Merit. Mr. Erdman, you are recognized for your opening statement.
Good morning, Chairman Paul and other members of the Oversight.
Damn, KB, he's a nerd. Fuck. Am I not a nerd only because I don't have Harry Potter glasses? And because a lot of what he was saying was a lot of what I was saying back in the day, too.
Committee. Thank you for the complimentary introduction, and I appreciate the committee's dedication to transparency and accountability. I am a career CIA operations officer, and as you mentioned, I was on joint duty assignment at the Office of Director National Intelligence Directors Initiatives Group, or the DIG, between March 2025 and April 2026. I was responsible for leading the DIG's investigation into COVID origins, anomalous health incidents, and unidentified anomalous phenomena. I'm here today to discuss the COVID cover-up, the national security implications associated with the DIG's investigative findings, and CIA refusal to comply with lawful oversight, as well as how we remedy these problems. Intelligence community leaders and senior analysts downplayed the possibility that the COVID pandemic originated as a result of a lab incident. Motives are difficult to define given the scope of the DIG's review. Intentional or not, the IC's actions resulted in cover-up, wasted resources, and a failure to properly inform policymakers. Public health policy would have been very different had the American public been made aware that a virus from a lab in China was going to serve as the foundation for an emergency use authorization mRNA products being mandated by the former administration. Dr. Fauci's role in the cover-up was intentional. Dr. Fauci influenced the analytical process
of course it was, but
by leveraging his position to ensure the IC consulted with a conflicted list of curated subject matter experts, public health officials, and scientists. This included some of the authors of the paper, The Proximal Origin of SARS-CoV-2, and other public health experts who have been in his orbit for the last 20 plus years. Some of the scientists were part of the Biological Sciences Experts Group, or the BSEG, an office of Director National Intelligence Advisory Body, whose members often receive considerable funding from NIAID and public health agencies. The BSEG scientists influence national laboratory, WMD research, policy decisions, finished analysis, and other intelligence matters, creating misaligned incentives and conflicts of interest, as well as counterintelligence issues. Since 2006, the BSEG consulted part-time on biodefense issues for the IC, while conducting government-funded research and holding academia positions, as well as maintaining roles in public health institutions and serving as members in the National Academy of Science. They receive funding from NIAID and other agencies for vaccine research, USAID's PREDICT project, the Cooperative Threat Reduction Program, and even worked with Chinese scientists on coronavirus and other pathogen studies pursuing vaccines. There was no oversight monitoring how this web of relationships influenced research, policy, and public health in any holistic way for over 20 years. In fact, several of the BSEG scientists helped Dr. Fauci rewrite definitions of gain of function in 2015 to lift a funding pause on dangerous research. Still others participated in planning Event 201 in 2019. This was a coronavirus pandemic tabletop exercise, curiously similar to the events that played out during the COVID-19 pandemic.
Sorry, I'm listening to what you say, dude, but I gotta pause you right here. This comes from Libs of TikTok. I'm a cunt. Great. Michigan House candidate Shelby Campbell.
I am a cunt. Great. But would you know a clit if you saw one? I am a cunt. Great. But would you know a clit if you saw one?
How many fucking times have I told you we're gonna see a social media fucking government very goddamn soon? It's happening. It's happening. The states are already fucking doing it. Spencer Pratt. And Spencer, goddamn motherfucker. Let's admit it, Spencer Pratt's a goddamn idiot. But unless he tries, he can't make LA any goddamn worse. And somehow that motherfucker stands the better chance. Why? Because he uses social media as a goddamn weapon. Now you got this bitch who's literally just doing a fucking squat on camera and saying, yeah, I'm a cunt, but you can't find the clit. Tell me where I'm wrong, America. It is a fuck around Friday while we do this. I'm going to be on for a minute.
And it was attended by Dr. Fauci and individuals with IC ties like former DNI Avril Haines.
What up, Glenn?
The CIA and DNI analytic managers responsible for examining the origin of COVID made decisions inconsistent with the conclusions of subject matter experts and analytical tradecraft, consistently favoring the theory of zoonosis
cloud
or
lifters
natural
working
origin.
again.
Following the CIA's COVID relook that culminated in 2023, the CIA retaliated against analysts supporting the lab leak hypothesis.
It makes sense.
CIA analysts were not bribed. The analysts that supported the 2023 lab leak conclusion took every administrative measure available to them to address their deep concerns regarding the analytic integrity of their finished intelligence.
That retarded
CIA
clip is
managers
stupid girl
retaliated against
math.
them for their refusal to agree with management's middle-of-the-night anonymous rewrite of the analysis, which changed the assessment to a non-call judgment. Dr. Anthony Fauci's influence over the IC's COVID origin analysis and the witting and unwitting role some BSEG scientists and IC personnel played in the cover-up exposed why this issue is of deep concern. Failure to address the United States government's inability to differentiate between public health and biodefense and the oversight-resistant ecosystem of life science actors has been fertile ground for increasingly dangerous continental United States gain-of-function research, as well as similar research conducted in U.S. government-supported labs abroad. Post 9/11 changes in public health and biodefense
I'm going to be
roles and
honest, I forgot
responsibilities
what I was doing
have blurred the
before I
lines
found
between
that clip.
scientists, the military, the intelligence community, It has resulted in a deliberately opaque and excessively redundant biodefense research policy and financial infrastructure, seemingly intended to escalate bureaucratic bloat. This is a national security crisis caused by the inability to provide real oversight. The systematic failures associated with muddled boundaries between biodefense and public health and an overly complex infrastructure have been exacerbated by documented efforts to circumvent oversight. CIA did not comply with lawful oversight during the Diggs investigation. The behavior significantly impacted Director Gabbard's implementation of several EOs issued during this administration and tasked to the dig. The CIA refused to provide information necessary to understand why analytical standards at the CIA were violated. The CIA illegally monitored the computer and phone usage of Dig personnel, their investigations, and contact with whistleblowers. These were Americans being spied upon illegally while executing duties directed by the president and under the authority of the Director of National Intelligence. One CIA contractor assisting with the Diggs investigation into the events that transpired between 2022 and 2023 was fired by the CIA 1 day after meeting with the Dig. When the Dig ceased operations, the CIA also took back 40 boxes of JFK files and MK Ultra files being processed for declassification by DNI Gabbard. The legislative and executive branches will continue to be misinformed if this type of behavior is not addressed. The parcel...
I'm sorry, I'm still listening to you while I'm doing other things. There ain't no goddamn way.
There.
Justin Pearson, the Tennessee Three, those motherfuckers that were that caused that whole ruckus in Tennessee before about the Nashville shooter. Yeah, he was evicted from office, and then all of a sudden he got back in because of his racist claim. And his racist claim was that there were 3 black people that were kicked out, and you wanted to go against a 4th one, who was a white woman who all she did was scream when they stood up with their planned bullshit. But all she did is she didn't know what was going on, but all she did was scream. And you let her back on, but you didn't let the black people back on. And that was racism. Somehow that fucking worked. Fast forward, what? Not even a fucking year. And they do it again. Because of the redistricting shit. This motherfucker's talking to Kamala Harris now.
Representative Pearson.
So, in the wake of the Cali decision, immediately Donald Trump, Marsha Blackburn, Governor Lee called for a special session. We had to be back by Tuesday, and by the following Thursday, they've taken it. The only black majority district in the entire state.
They're basically backdooring racism through politics.
All right. You do have to understand that the Supreme Court said you can't have a district based on race, right? Because that's antithetical to everything that we fucking have. But somehow they're backdooring racism through lawfare by saying you can't segregate. Because let's be honest, they've been doing it forever. They're doing it in the colleges and shit. They're trying to place that multiculturalism bullshit in fucking schools. I was going to save this for tomorrow, but this actually came up. I have to speak about this shit right the fuck now. Oh, hold on. You're pushing this multiculturalism, safe space zones for everybody, where everybody but white people are the fuck allowed. When do we come to the whole point to where you've been segregating black people for fucking decades as far as voting is concerned, because 96% of them vote Democrat, so why the fuck not? Let's maximize that shit, right? Black people are too stupid to get IDs. Black people don't know what a computer is, and god damn it, they can't do a damn thing unless you give them everything, whitey. But we damn sure need to make sure they are segregated as a population based on voting. Because it's racist if you don't.
They know the power of the people and it scares them. Because if they thought on merit that they were...
Meanwhile, this bitch's actual goddamn family had fucking slaves. This bitch's family owned fucking slaves. Why? Why? Holy goddamn shit. This cock gobbling cum dumpster whore right here has somehow gotten, she looks worse. Holy fuck.
Win, they wouldn't have to resort to this cheating.
That's right. They're taking the front door, the side door, the back door. They're taking all the angles to say, how is it that we can work to dilute
The front, the side, and back doors, so I'm just sticking my dick in everything? What are you talking about?
the power?
We need to have a playbook that is born out of our ability to assume some risk, perhaps. I've been thinking about, we need to have basically a no bad ideas brainstorm. That's
right.
how I'm thinking about it.
Yep.
Like a good old-fashioned no bad ideas brainstorm.
We can't abandon the South. We have to invest in it, and particularly we have to invest in all levels of government.
Your fight is for America and for everything that we say we stand for.
This is our time and our moment.
That's right. Please take care of yourself. Please take care of yourself. And thank you for all you do to inspire so many people.
Where's that goddamn full interview? I want to watch that shit now. I'm sorry, I'm coming across this shit and I have to. I'm going to say some. You know what? Fuck it. I'm going to say it. I don't give a shit. I don't give a shit. It's going to come off racist as motherfucking off. And maybe the Democrats are fucking right. I'm serious. Hold up. Maybe they're right. Track this. They say black people are dumb, right? They don't know. They've got IQs. Well, they got IQs below the level. I mean, didn't Chicago's school areas prove that? 25% can read, 33% can. What was it? No, it was actually like 32% can do great or math at grade level. We've seen them failing across the board everywhere. Michael Bowman. Y'all remember Michael goddamn Bowman? The motherfucker tried to say he thought a fire alarm would open a doorway. And it kind of actually does make sense when you look at it, because he prided himself for being vice president of a school where not a goddamn motherfucker could read or write. Maybe you do have a claim, because culturally that was actually pushed. But then again, if that were true, culturally that was actually pushed at a time when Democrats were involved. Including down the burning of Black Wall Street. And every fucking time these motherfuckers have actually done something to the black community, a Tuskegee experiment, every fucking time that they blame it on somebody else, and you motherfuckers still believe it, no matter what. So what am I, as a white man, going to sit here and say to you when I say, no, I'm sorry, your actual ancestors sold you into slavery. It was their fucking fault. It sounds bad, but I can understand the thinking of a Democrat who goes that fucking route. But then I look at a lot of black people throughout history. I mean, Y'all know where the fuck peanut butter came from? What about the cotton gin? We all know Eli Whitney with the cotton gin, of course. All that. What about the stoplight? Y'all remember where the stoplight came from? But somehow we have convinced the whole population of the United States of America that you can't do shit unless the white man gives you everything because you're that pathetic. And somehow, saying that message to black people is not racist, but saying that message as a way to combat that is somehow racist. To tell you history is somehow racist because why is Nancy Pelosi trending? I gotta look that up. To tell you history is somehow fucking racist. Because that's what happened. I started it racist as shit, right? But every bit of it. It all comes back. Every fucking bit of it. The party never fucking changed. They just blamed everybody else for the shit that they were ever fucking causing. All throughout history. But anyway, let's go back. Oh, what up, Jackie? How you doing? I see you popping in there.
Partial solution to dangerous gain of function has already been laid out in Executive Order 14292, improving the safety and security of biological research. We need a comprehensive review of government-funded life science research and a move back to pre-9/11 definitions of gain of function and WMD research, particularly in the IC and DHS. More broadly, we need effective oversight. We must hold agencies responsible for failure to comply with Executive Order 14292, and oversight must have teeth. You must be willing to pull the purse strings, and if necessary, convene another church committee.
Yeah, I saw that, Jonah.
The results of our investigation would have been impossible.
I saw that, Jonah, and that's why I formed my fucking thought on that. Yeah.
They are indispensable agents for reform. Despite statutory law, agency regulation, and training requirements, whistleblowers are almost never protected. Whistleblower protections always seem to protect the agency. Every time the CIA investigates itself, they coincidentally find no wrongdoing. When they do identify issues, they hold the system responsible. That last statement is a verbatim response from a Europe and Eurasia Mission Center lawyer.
Well, yeah, of course they hold the system responsible. I did wrong because you allowed me to, so shouldn't you make a law to tell me that I can't do this shit, right? I mean, I'm going to do it until you do. I mean, that's abuse of fucking power. Of course.
The CIA Office of Inspector General did identify shortcomings so serious, oversight bodies were holding meetings about it 3 years after the events transpired. It was in response to the question, was anyone held accountable? Apparently the system is good enough. The only way we solve this issue is with real accountability for failure to comply with executive and legislative branch oversight and an escape valve where whistleblowers can continue to contribute to mission free from retaliation. All IG elements need to be removed from the agencies and fall under a separate entity controlled by the IC Inspector General. The personnel in IG elements should be 1811 certified with regular DOJ and legislative oversight reporting responsibilities. Thank you, and my written statement provides far more details related to these issues. I look forward to your questions.
Thank you, Mr. Erdman. Is it your testimony that there is still resistance from the CIA to comply with the law we passed to declassify all the COVID information?
Yes.
One of the things that I think is new today that I'm hearing from your testimony is that from an early period of time, you believe, and the information you're aware of, is that CIA scientists from an early time after the pandemic began, 2020, 2021, were concluding that the lab leak was the most likely hypothesis?
Yes, Senator. I'd like to offer some qualifications on that as well. A lot of the issues occurred at the interagency space, at the National Intelligence Council, the individuals responsible for conducting or writing WMD analysis. So, and many of those individuals are on JDA from the CIA. But yes, very early, as early as 2020, there were agencies within the IC circulating papers that that said, hey, there's, for example, DOE circulated a paper in May of 2020 that said that all the conditions were present for a lab leak. And I could go through the timeline, but yes, my short answer is yes, periodically throughout 2020 all the way to 2024. Yes.
I think the arguments, pro and con for what is the evidence on whether this came from a lab or came from nature are still important. So for years, we've been asking the CIA to produce the scientists, either in a classified setting or a public setting, to discuss the arguments. I don't see any reason why the arguments should be classified. One of the arguments that's made publicly is that the source looks like it came from a single source of RNA, not like 5 different types of viruses or 20 different types like you had with SARS 2003, but it came from one source. And virtually everybody argues that sort of indicates a lab and not a nature. And so those arguments are important scientific arguments to have, but we've been prevented from having them. We've been preventing from getting all of the declassified information. But what I think is of importance that's new today is that your testimony is that the CIA scientists were concluding that it was lab, but then with this, there was a 90-day study in 2021, and this study was done by NIC, led by NIC. Tell us what NIC is again.
It's the National Intelligence Council, and individuals responsible for writing various WMD and bio-related issues.
So when they had this study, they had CIA scientists telling them, look, the scientific evidence looks like it came from the lab, but then they brought in Anthony Fauci. And is it your opinion that Anthony Fauci was able to overrule the scientist or get NIC to conclude somehow that there wasn't a conclusion to be had here, we're going to be neutral, contradicting what the scientists were telling them?
So there's 2 questions there, and I want to break them up into 2. One is, where were the injection points, Dr. Anthony Fauci? Where did Dr. Anthony Fauci and when did he inject himself into the IC? And the other half of that question, if I'm, and I don't want to extrapolate too much here, is, okay, what happened with why was there a change in analysis? So I'll start with if it's okay, Dr. Paul, sure, Senator, I'll start with Dr. Anthony Fauci. There were 2 instances. On 3 February 2020 and 4 June 2021, Anthony Fauci had contact with the interagency. And how to sort of broadly generalize this is that contact was happily pursued within the IC. They wanted that contact. And he provided a curated list of subject matter experts, which coincidentally wrote the proximal origin of SARS-CoV-2. So it's not like he came in and said, you have to do X, Y, and Z. He provided recommendations. It's when you look at what has already been publicly released about Dr. Fauci, and then what you're seeing under the curtain at the IC, where you realize, okay, there is a narrative that was being generated by his contact, not just with experts here in the United States, but experts in Australia and the UK, and that's the public-facing piece. And he had tried to sort of keep his hands clear of, I didn't have anything to do with the proximal origin of SARS-CoV-2, but in the meantime, he's pushing those authors and individuals that have been in his orbit into the IC as experts. And I'll jump to June 2021. We as the IC at the NIC happily pursued those recommendations. And in one email, which I'll describe to you, the person in charge of leading the 90-day study, he introduced himself to the community on what they were supposed to be doing. And then the community said, listen, we've got these people we should be talking to. And another very senior NIC officer sent a direct email to him saying, hey, considering that Dr. Fauci is a public health expert, are you sure we should be relying on this? Shouldn't we have a separate set? And in this instance, the individual responded, no, in this case, Dr. Anthony Fauci is a subject matter expert. However, that's directly contradicting his public testimony of being a subject matter
Part of the job in intelligence when you interview someone is assessing their truthfulness, their potential biases or conflicts of interest. Did anyone ever bring up that Anthony Fauci approved the research that went on in Wuhan and that it might not be in his interest for the conclusion to be that it came from a lab that he had funded, that there might be a conflict? Did anybody ever bring up that he might not be an objective witness?
That was one example of an email. No one laid it out quite that clearly. You're piecing it together. We were piecing it together from multiple emails, from multiple agencies, multiple documents. It was more subtle than that. Nobody said this is happening, and unfortunately, I think they probably should have. It was all out there.
But your conclusion is that changing from the scientific consensus of it being from a lab to a neutral position by the CIA was significantly influenced by Anthony Fauci?
It was significantly influenced by Anthony Fauci's injecting himself into the IC. And to go to the second part of your question about what happened, particularly during the 90-day study, we have documentation that shows that as of August 12th, the CIA was considering calling this a lab leak, August 12th of 2021. And then that changed on August 17th of 2021. Right. And unfortunately, because the CIA would not provide us documentation that we asked for, we have no idea why that changed. And that's
and they weren't alone, because we know the FBI was coming to the same conclusion that it was lab leak, as well as the FBI. Senator Ernst.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Really appreciate you being here today. I know that this has been a topic for many of us for many years, and we continue to get pushback from the federal government as we're trying to uncover the truth to this matter. For years, folks who discussed a possible COVID lab origin were dismissed as conspiracy theorists. They were censored. Some were even fired from their jobs. If there was or is a conspiracy, then U.S. government officials and U.S.-funded scientists keeping secret should be publicly questioned under oath about what they knew and when they knew it. But U.S.-funded scientists somehow are still protected from being questioned publicly, even though they received millions of taxpayer dollars from NIH, DHS, DOE, and DOD. And look, folks, I've long warned about a potential
And K-Bean says, I would like to remind everyone that we were not allowed to talk about this. Rob's channel was demonized over some of the, or demonetized over some of this, which was true. 100 fucking percent, ma'am, you are absolutely fucking correct. And to prove that fucking point, you remember the Republican debate, the primaries back in 2024, back forward 2024. I had covered the Republican debates on this channel and Voice of the People channel. The Voice of the People channel was hit before because of medical misinformation. And I swear to God, the only reason it was hit for medical misinformation was me asking if antiphospholipid syndrome is the reason why we are seeing what we are seeing. That was medical misinformation for me asking that fucking question. What? 2 years goddamn later? We're covering the Republican national debates, and then all of a sudden, a Voice of the People channel, it gets hit with medical information because the Republicans on stage were talking about the vaccine, but off-label did not. It makes no fucking sense, right? It was the same goddamn thing. Both channels should have been flagged if that were actually fucking true. But it wasn't. We were heavily censored for being goddamn right the entire time, for showing goddamn common sense. We were heavily censored for. Because it didn't line up with the way they wanted to use and abuse the situation. Lock us fucking down, make us shove politics down your throat to show you what an evil orange man is. It's a threat. It's an existential threat to our goddamn democracy. Meanwhile, we're burning down that democracy because it's an existential threat to our democracy, and you should be behind us, ladies and gentlemen, because Orange Man exists. We should upend and overturn and uproot everything, just flip everything on its end, just exact opposite of where we are, because Orange Man exists, ladies and gentlemen. Never mind the fact that we had that goddamn debate where I literally tried it. I honestly fucking did. Made it about 45 minutes before I fucking gave up. But the motherfucker said a civilian working for a civilian organization can commit a racial goddamn hate crime, and it's okay as long as that civilian working that for that civilian organization that fundraises off fighting those racial hate crimes reports it to the FBI, and that group that allowed that racial hate crime to fucking happen calls him an informant. Why? Orange Man exists, and I don't believe Kash Patel. And you're going to sit here and tell me how, look, I understand how common sense has become a superpower, but it's come to a point to where you actually have to look at people and just be like, okay, look, that higher brain function that works on every single human being, you know, that separates us from fucking animals. Whatever animal you want to throw up in any kind of situation, it doesn't fucking matter. That higher cognitive function does not exist in you. It's not there. So if that higher cognitive function that separates us from animal is if it doesn't exist in your goddamn frame of mind, if it doesn't exist in what makes you who you the fuck are, can I call you human? And it sounds fucked up because it's demonizing, it's othering. But what else do you say? If the higher brain functions that make us human don't exist in somebody, are they human? Can we answer that question? I'm sorry, I go on my tirades. I'm drunk as shit, but we doing it.
Government cover-up of the truth, which our brave witness, again, thank you, Mr. Erdman, has confirmed to us today. I've called for answers from Dr. Ralph Baric, an expert virologist who showed the intelligence community in January 2020,
I am a
before
superpower
the
common
American
sense
people knew
man.
about the pandemic, that, quote, we may be on the verge of a global pandemic, end quote. Yet nothing was done to share this information with the American people. I exposed that the Wuhan lab received $1.4 million in federal funds, fought to cut off every single cent flowing to that lab, and I won on this for the taxpayers. And I haven't backed down from fighting for more information on the true COVID origins. And yet Congress is still here, 6 years later, begging agencies to share answers and for committees to make relevant documents public. We are tired of Washington cover-ups. And if they aren't our screw-ups here in the U.S., why would the U.S. government cover up for the CCP and other countries? So, Mr. Erdman, America...
Why would the U.S. government cover up for the CPP or the CCP? Ma'am, I have a question. Do you understand how much money you stupid sons of bitches are actually pouring into Chinese companies because they are the up-and-coming superpower that is supposed to supplant the dominant superpower, which is us? Oh, Thucydides' trap, right? It's a tendency. It's not an absolute, but it is a tendency that an up-and-coming economic superpower that clashes with a dominant superpower, more often than not, it leads to fucking warfare. Wasn't Xi Jinping trying to say we need to avoid Thucydides' trap? That during this whole fucking meeting that just happened. Meanwhile, you motherfuckers are pumping money left and right into Chinese-owned companies, boasting their fucking economy, doing their thing, and then you're just like, America's fucked, but China's best. And you don't think we see this. So you can get in front of these hearings and be like, oh, why is this happening? Bitch, you forced it. It's all on you. You did this. You levied economic warfare against the people of the United States, shortchanging short stock. What's that shit? You know, shortchanging the stock and everything. Betting against that a stock will fail. You pretty much did that against the American fucking people. That is levying economic warfare. You took your shit and boosted it into another goddamn and another fucking country, knowing full fucking well that your actions would lead to the downfall of the economics of the United States. The fucking economic warfare 101, and here we are, ladies and gentlemen, and somehow that's not fucking treasonous, right?
Would have been angry to learn in early 2020 that their government may have played a role in COVID-19's creation. Would you say such thinking influenced the intelligence community to suppress a lab leak origin theory?
I would say that there's evidence in the emails that it was part of the calculus. I wouldn't say, so it's very difficult, it's more subtle. Okay. There's sort of a zeitgeist that runs underneath the analysis, and I'll provide a conversation I had with one of our whistleblowers.
And Nancy Pelosi.
I asked, and this individual is an incredibly talented scientist. And I asked that individual.
I had to figure out why Pelosi was trending.
Actually go forward, go public. There's a lot of reasons not to do that. There's a whole bunch. His comment was, nobody wants nobody wanted the lab leak conclusion, and I'm concerned that there's too many people willing to make excuses for China in this organization for the wrong reasons. That was pervasive. And so the individuals we talked to, they never said, one for one, it's because they disliked the sitting president or they were trying to cover up, like managers were trying to cover up for China. But it was a pervasive undercurrent is how they described it. And I think to answer your question, there's certainly reluctance to provide information that would be geopolitically destabilizing or provide ammunition for actions that maybe they thought would be unwise.
No,
Did I answer your question, Senator?
Yes, you did. And it's troubling to hear that there's an undercurrent of making excuses for China as well. Deeply troubling. We spend millions of dollars to have an early warning intelligence system. And yet today I'm hearing the system may have been alerted, but no one was acting on the information. Do you think that's an accurate statement?
I can't speak to the health agencies. I can say that the IC was certainly aware early on that it looked like there might be an issue. And so the intelligence that had come in, I don't think they sat on it. I don't think they sat on the intelligence. Now, that speaks to maybe a broader issue with the interaction between IC elements and non-IC elements. Maybe there's some improvements that could be made there, but I didn't see the IC sitting on information extraordinarily long.
Okay, it could have been agencies then extraneous to the IC.
Right, and you know, the bureaucracy is real. I mean, it's just every day sometimes feels like a fight just to get simple things done, and that's just part of working in a large organization. So I'm not making excuses. I'm just saying from the intelligence perspective, I think they identified fairly quickly that this might be an issue.
Mm-hmm. And with this as an issue, typically we go back, we do after action reviews. Do you think this is something that the U.S. government has learned from? I see you grimace. Maybe share a little bit about that, because if this is system-wide across the federal government, you know, how do we stop this from happening again? What lessons have we learned from this, if any? You're still coming forward as a whistleblower.
Okay, so Nancy Pelosi is actually trending because they're talking about, ladies and gentlemen, it's insider trading because all these fucking companies from all these different countries are actually paying out into the deals that they signed to invest into this fucking country. Somehow it's insider trading because the stocks are seeing an increase. I swear to fucking God, dude. This is the life we fucking live in. Nancy Pelosi is trending on Twitter because Donald Trump made fucking deals, which he actually fucking didn't. It's the administration, the way they actually fucking function. But Donald Trump made fucking deals, the same deals that happens everywhere else, any other fucking presidency ever. And because they paid into the deals that were actually fucking made, somehow it's insider goddamn trading. But when Nancy Pelosi says, hey, buy up Nvidia stock 2 fucking months before goddamn she goes over to Taiwan to say, yeah, you're fucked if China moves on you, we're going to build up the infrastructure here in the United States to take over what you're doing for us. Somehow that's not insider trading information when that happens and Nvidia stock jumps through the fucking roof, right?
So what have we taken away from this, and how do we prevent this from happening in the future, whether it's, you know, the spread of a pandemic or, you know, what happened within the agency?
So I really don't want to go beyond IC too much because I'm not part of like the health establishment. I'm not in that organization. But part of the reason the DIG was pulled together as a task force, it was a temporary tool to perform something like an after-action review and get at the bottom of what happened. And if you're asking me, did we learn anything? Well, the problem is we did not receive support from the CIA in terms of, and I've documented in my transcribed interview, and I don't want to go into the specifics of that, but there were very specific lists of information we needed so that we could put into context what happened. And so, no, I don't think we've learned our lesson when it comes to transparency and reform. We didn't get the documents we needed. Senator, your committee issued, 14 subpoenas in January of 2025 requesting documents, and Director Gabbard did her absolute best to try and force the IC to start producing these documents, and a bunch of them got sent over to ODNI. But we still didn't get all of them. And so what I'll say is, like, we did not get the documents we needed from the CIA, state INR. And so the lessons in terms of transparency and reform, I don't think those occurred. And they can only occur, if we actually do a full review of what happened during COVID. And again, there's a fair question. How long do you want to be backwards leaning looking at COVID? That's a fair question. You only have limited resources, limited time.
I'm sorry, I'm going to have to stop this, Mark. That's the problem. Congress begging instead of issuing subpoenas and forcing them, jailing people for refusing to show up and testify, and jailing those who perjure themselves. Well, that's the actual problem. They can't do that. What you were talking about is law enforcement for my body that rights laws. You're giving judicial and executive to the same branch at that point. You can't do that. There ain't no goddamn way, because if you did, then you'd see things like I don't know. But it wasn't Peter Navarro. Who was that? Steve Bannon. Steve Bannon went to jail for contempt of Congress, but Hunter Biden? Let's see what happens when you do so. Congress becomes judicial fucking branch at that point. I don't like that fucking idea, man. But they can refer, they can do whatever the fuck they want. They can say, hey, by all rights, you motherfuckers should arrest. But it should be another branch of government to say, yeah, you're right, we should. Imagine what the fucking House could do if you put that power in their hands, especially from what we've seen with the Biden administration.
Limited personnel, and we have limited experts that work within the CIA, and they've got.
And then it is up to the DOJ to do their job.
The reason COVID is so important
is
because
the
what we did
executive
find
branch
is that there is a much larger meta problem sitting on top of COVID. The fact that we have these scientists, and again, I'm not vilifying any of these scientists we contracted in to come to the IC. We desperately need their expertise, and so when we invite them in, we're inviting them in because we want their help, and so we need them.
We can't keep
But
letting
those
them
same scientists, this
investigate themselves
ecosystem
and
that
decide
has
where
a
their
lot of money
consequences are.
involved. You've got.
You're
They're involved
right.
with the National Academy of Science, for example, some of them. And, National Academy of Science also helps with our WMD policy for the U.S. government. Unfortunately, the National Academy of Science also has a great number of Chinese researchers that co-publish. And so if we're not careful, we're going to have Chinese researchers helping us draft U.S.
Then why
WMD
was the
policy.
first
It's not a good
Comey
thing.
indictment?
You've got the kind of
Why
threat
did
reduction
that fall
program that
through?
involves some of these IC scientists. And once you start cross-pollinating like that, being able to tease out and really provide proper oversight becomes so difficult. And you're talking about also multiple funding streams from multiple different places. It's a very complex problem. COVID, we need the AAR
What up, kid?
so that and it already pointed to the bigger problem. So maybe that's enough, but we need that.
Thank you, Mr. Erdman. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Senator Ernst, one thing I would interject as far as lessons from my perspective is the scientists overseeing gain of function research can't be the scientists receiving the money. Right. So we voted last year on the Risky Research Review Act. It'd be a presidential commission, but the scientists that oversee gain of function would not be receiving NIH grants. Part of it is that Fauci had a fiefdom, this enormous fiefdom, and he was controlling the funds, but then there was a danger of that he doles it out to people who agree with him, and I think that was happening.
Yeah,
Senator Moreno?
point well taken.
Holy shit. I want to point that out to you. I want to point that out today. The Senator Moody conceded her goddamn point because Rand Paul was like, look, we gave this motherfucker money. He only dealt it out to people that agreed with him. And she's like, all right, point well taken. No pushback, no bullshit, no, you're a stupid son of a bitch. Point well taken. I give that. I concede it. If it's something that I see plausible, if it's something that I see that actually could, well, a point well taken. I got you. All right, I can understand. I get you. She just fucking did it.
Mr. Chairman. Mr. Erdman, first of all, thank you for your service to our nation in the past, current, and future. Quick question for you, because I've obviously never been in the CIA. Is it easy to be a whistleblower? Is it easy to kind of think about, hey, I'm going to go outside the normal chain of command, or does it come with personal risk, career risk, et cetera?
I do not believe whistleblower protections are sufficient to protect whistleblowers.
So it's not easy. So it's not easy for you to be here, especially you're serving now today. What is your reaction when you look at the dais and you see that there's not a single solitary Democrat member here to listen to your testimony? How does that make you feel?
My goal in being here is threefold. I want to talk about COVID.
No, I get that, but I'm saying...
I wish they were there. I wish they were there.
You're taking personal risk. You're serving the country. You're not partisan. This isn't about politics, but somehow it's become about politics because the Democrats don't even want to hear the conversation about what obviously was a grave error that this country made during COVID. And unlike previous situations, there's never been a situation, certainly not in my lifetime, where you had decisions made that affected generations of America.
Hold on, Jules. Ketanji Brown Jackson seems to be writing her goddamn opinions in the Supreme Court using a ChatGPT or some kind of fucking AI. You don't think these motherfuckers are forming arguments using the same damn thing? Now here's the fucked up question that you really do need to ask. This AI that they use, is it the same AI we do? Or is it their AI? Come on. You know full fucking well the government has well above and beyond our AI capabilities as far as the consumer market is concerned. We see what is capable within AI within a couple of fucking years. And you don't think these motherfuckers have already got that beyond our capabilities? You're not paying attention if you believe that shit, right?
It's kids that were absolutely deprived of their childhood, businesses that were destroyed, families that were torn apart, memories that you'll never get back, trillions of dollars of economic loss. We should at least have a conversation that isn't partisan. And yet, just for the record, there's not a single solitary Democrat senator that's willing to sit in this chamber and listen to your testimony. I think that's an outrage, an insult to people like you. So I'm going to bring a little more levity to what I just said. Back in June of 21, you talked about that, which is interesting. June of 21. I remember June of 21 as something that came up during a comedy show. I'm not somebody who listens to Stephen Colbert, but he had Jon Stewart on. And he said, I'm paraphrasing Jon Stewart. I will not deliver it with the same kind of comedic punch. But it said, oh, my God, there's been an outbreak of chocolatey goodness near Hershey, Pennsylvania. What do you think happened? Like, oh, I don't know. Maybe the steam shovel mated with a cocoa bean. Or it's maybe the expletive-deleted chocolate factory. Maybe that's it. And simple joke, talking about, or maybe the simplest solution is maybe the virus leak happened from the virus lab in the city of Wuhan. Or maybe this chain of events of animals mating to each other all over the world resulted in this virus. What ended up happening is that Jon Stewart...
Some dude butt-fucked a bat in a cave, and that's how coronavirus happened. Versus, maybe it was released from a lab, from the same goddamn lab that was doing gain-of-function research. I don't fucking know which one's more... What is it? Occam's razor? The least amount of assumptions used to come to a conclusion? I don't fucking know. Maybe some dude did butt fuck a fucking bat in a cave. Or maybe it was released from a goddamn lab that makes this shit happen.
Was immediately tortured. The Washington Post called his joke a dangerous weapon of propaganda. They called him conspiratorial, and he got massive personal backlash. That was in June of 21. So does it turn out that the chocolatey goodness came from the chocolate factory in Hershey, Pennsylvania?
Yeah, just as Director Ratcliffe said in 2020, it sure looks like the chocolatey factory is actually where the chocolate came from.
Yeah, and in fact, it's funny that we're all sitting here today.
God damn you, Willy Wonka.
Torture of Jon Stewart, the Stephen Colbert said that maybe Jon Stewart was somehow a spy of Senator Johnson, because Senator Johnson was the one senator that was saying this from the very beginning. Has continued to hold that accountability, and I applaud Senator Johnson for his absolutely relentless pursuit of the truth in all this. But let me just spend the last few minutes here talking to you about something that you mentioned, which is near and dear to my heart.
It's
and I
weird,
think all these things are
triggered.
important. You said it's super critical. And again, I applaud you for taking and having the courage to come here and your detailed and methodical review of all this. But where's the accountability? This is what I hear from my constituents all over Ohio. Is like, great, you got a hearing, you said this, and that happened, but they want to see the perp walks. Where are the people who made these decisions, and how do we hold them accountable? Anthony Fauci is sitting, probably sipping margarita somewhere with his multi-million-dollar financial success as a result of duping the American people into.
The motherfucker has devotional candles to him, goddamn self, that you can actually physically fucking buy to this day.
An experimental virus in a vaccine into their bodies or risk losing their jobs. He's not accountable to anybody. He's having a great life. He was featured on Vogue magazine. He sat there for a cover shot for a day, trying to get beauty shots of him, which I imagine the photographer found difficult. What do you think?
Meanwhile, this motherfucker said that AIDS was airborne. Y'all remember this shit? Holy fuck. Worship the fuck out of the dude that brought us out of the COVID era because he made up some shit about playing shit along the fucking way. Worship the motherfucker. Meanwhile, this motherfucker says that AIDS was a goddamn airborne virus.
Where do you think that we are on a path to accountability?
So I don't work at DOJ, and so I can't speak to prosecutions or perp walks or any of that stuff. But what I'll say is, and I want to go back to the first thing you mentioned here about the American public, I think, and this is my opinion, I'm not expressing myself as a CIA officer or on loan to DNI, whatever it is, I think we really want both Democrats and Republicans to show up and communicate and cooperate on issues, because Part of the most important, and you all know this, I'm sorry, legislative branch, they have some power of oversight. You guys are not, you can't make DOJ prosecute anybody. You can reach across the aisle and you can try and get these people to pull the purse strings when agencies are behaving poorly. And, you know, from my perspective, and I don't mean to criticize anyone, we need the legislative branch to start pulling purse strings. It's got to be with teeth if you want accountability. And this is perfect. This forum here is perfect. It's about the transparency piece. You can't act unless people know. On the accountability side,
I mean, hold the fuck up. If you know full fucking well you're funding this goddamn shit, you're doing some shit, why the fuck are you letting that goddamn money go? Why should it be up on the legislative fucking department? Hold up. Why should it be on the legislative department to clean up your goddamn mess that you knew you created from the fucking start?
I can tell you that Director Gabbard is doing her best to pursue accountability with all of the investigations.
You may have pink eye from your parents' cat.
You know, we can serve everything up, and it's up to DOJ to take action at that point. And I can't speak to DOJ.
Did the cat sit his fucking asshole right on your eye? How did this happen?
Just an apology for putting the country through this, not giving the proper information. I think that would go a long way. But certainly there was clearly bad actors. Mr. Chairman, you talked about the conflicts of interest. The way you described it was very nice, but ultimately it's corruption. I mean, when somebody's getting paid to give an opinion that's not fact-based, and it leads to personal gain, that's just flat out corruption. And what makes America unique is that we don't allow that kind of corruption in our government. And so I think ultimately where this all has to land is there has to be explicit accountability for individuals who profited off of the misinformation, the shaming of Americans, and the systematic destruction of lots and lots of things in this country. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Senator. Senator Johnson.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And another excellent hearing. I feel your pain and frustration in terms of trying to do oversight investigation and issuing subpoenas that are not responded to, certainly not in full. Barely responded to generally. What responses we get are generally non-responsive responses, just a bunch of bureaucratic gobbledygook. So, again, I appreciate your efforts, though. Mr. Erdman, I appreciate you coming forward. One thing I know as former chairman of the full committee, now as chairman of the Permanent Subcommittee Investigations, is we do not protect whistleblowers. We have laws dating back over 100 years, and the government is the worst offender in terms of retaliating against whistleblowers, even though there's all kinds of these legal protections. So I appreciate you doing this. I'll also note, because nothing shocks me anymore with our colleagues from the other side of the aisle, but I'm shocked that not one of them showed up here.
Hold up. No, I think Jules is actually... Jules is going back from the very fucking beginning. Hold up. Rumble, what the fuck are y'all doing? This motherfucker hit the very beginning of the show.
I think one showed up to register his attendance and then gone. I agree with you. It is well past time for us to have a church committee. We're not going to get bipartisan support for a church committee. There's no
that was the
curiosity on the other
shit.
side about what's happening inside the
Jules
deep
is
state.
talking
That's
about
really my
pregame.
question. Who is running the deep state? I've got example
He's
after example and agency after
in an hour
agency.
and be like, holy fuck.
Very, very legitimate oversight requests. I subpoena documents. You don't get squat. Now, I asked for your testimony last night, and I realized, and I really appreciate the fact that the committee staff and Chairman Paul is very, very concerned about retaliation against you. Apparently, they didn't clear your testimony here at the CIA. Is that true?
No.
So you're appearing as a true whistleblower, publicly right off the bat. I'll do, and I'm sure Senator Paul and the staff will do everything we can to prevent retaliation. What is your game plan after this? You're done with the DNI and the DIG organization. Do you plan on going back to CIA?
I returned to CIA on, was it April? I'm back at CIA. I just took a couple of weeks vacation after it was a long year, and I was tired, so I took some time off.
So were you welcome back?
I just arrived, and I've got a desk, and they're talking to me about what comes next.
I mean, do you have any concerns about me keeping this? Because originally we said you can't keep this after the hearing, but it sounds like now I can keep it. I mean, do you have concerns? Because again, I don't want to harm you in terms of what you've written here. I haven't had a chance to go through it yet.
You can keep it.
Okay. Should we distribute this publicly?
Please hold on that.
For the time being, I will. John Radcliffe was very helpful when he was in that position at DNI. Now he's director of the CIA. What is preventing the CIA from totally cooperating with the DNI?
I don't know.
What would you say? You've been in the CIA. Who's running the show?
Here's what I'll say. We had requests. We have a formal process that we sent those requests over, and I detailed in the transcribed interview the dates and what those requests were for. It appeared to be bureaucratic slow rolling until the government shutdown happened.
Well, that is the technique they use.
Yes.
I mean, they look at every administration or every director of CIA, and if they don't agree with them, this too shall pass, right? They just wait them out. I mean, that's happening right now in both of our investigations. So, again, I'm calling for a church-like commission. We'll call it the Paul Johnson Commission, okay? We need to figure out who runs the deep state. But in my final 3 minutes, because I held what I thought was a blockbuster hearing 2 weeks ago.
It was very good.
And this is on my investigation in terms of the harms done by the COVID injection. And I'm going to talk about it right now because it's not being covered by the legacy media. Alternate media, yes. Fox News, Fox Business has had me on. I went on, supposed to be on CNN last week. And I sent them my report and told them that's what I want to talk about. They canceled the appearance. Oh, that's not why. Sure it is. So this is what, and I can do this in 2 minutes and 20 seconds. This is what we uncovered. This is what is being covered up by now the legacy media. On March 1st of 2021, Dr. Peter Marks, head of CBER, the organization within FDA that approves vaccines and also is supposed to surveil those vaccines post-market for safety, was given a multi-page briefing by the main data mining analyst within FDA working with the inventor of the algorithm they used to analyze the VAERS, the Vaccine Adverse Event Reporting System. That briefing told Dr. Marks that the current algorithm, because of the nature of the massive number of claims coming into VAERS, by the way, from 1990 until 2020, on average, about 280 deaths are reported in VAERS associated with the vaccine. 2021 is over 21,000.
You know I gotta fucking do it, right? At phmpt.org, you hit this website up right here and you go clinical trial documents. Pfizer is 16 plus. And then you go into the search. A 5.3.6 post-market. You don't want the reissue, you want the regular issue. Let's hit the whatever. Yes. Let's do it. Open it up. Okay. Where is it? There you go. I'm just going to leave it on the screen for you guys there for a second. And take a look. Read for yourself. How the hell is that fatal shit? Unknown. All of that. This is the fucking data that they had before they pushed it on you. Okay, so now that you've had your time, let's look at this real quick. Out of 42,086 people, 1,223 died within the first 30 days of injection, not recovered at the time of report from all the adverse events, 11,361. Recovered with squale? Yeah, they recovered, but it still hurt. 520. 19,582 recovered in the first fucking 30 days. 9,400 are unknown. You know the fucking problem with this? Let's check this out at the very goddamn end of it all. Ladies and gentlemen, they're just going through, seeing what they've actually shown. What has come about this? So let's see, what has come about this? Where is the... There it is. Appendix 1. A list of adverse events of special interest. Anything in everything that has come up since the point of injection in the first 30 days. Alphabetical goddamned order. And the only way any of this makes any real sense, herpes simplex, Herpes simplex? Herpes? How the fuck did herpes get involved in this? How is herpes a symptom of this shit? Oh, it only actually makes sense if this shit lowered your immune system to an extreme fucking degree to where anything and everything you fucking caught was deadly. Look at this. Look at this. The adverse events of the SARS-CoV-2 was MERS COVID testing. MERS COVID negative, MERS COVID test positive. So because you had sudden acute respiratory COVID-2 virus, somehow you had the Middle Eastern virus as well. The only time it makes sense when you're looking at this is if your immune system was suppressed, bigger than shit. Because there ain't no goddamn way. There ain't no fucking way in hell. Let's bring. Let's see. The stillbirth. The stillbirth was part of this. Oh, so it killed fucking unborn children, and you knew about it. That there ain't no goddamn way herpes can be fucking involved as an adverse fucking side effect unless your immune system was suppressed to an extreme fucking degree. By the way, 8.5 goddamn pages of adverse fucking events for this shit. And you were silenced if you brought this shit the fuck up. You took fucking hits on YouTube. You took hits everywhere for bringing this shit up when it fucking launched, because Moderna wanted to only release 55 fucking pages a year for the next 75 fucking years to show you this shit. Guillain-Barré syndrome. A Zika virus associated with the Guillain-Barré syndrome was part of this goddamn shit. Tell me it did not suppress your immune system. Oh, you bitch.
Nothing to see here. But anyway, so they're using an algorithm. They were warned that this algorithm, because the Moderna and Pfizer are so close together, the way they're analyzing is going to mask and hide safety signals. That's March 1st, 2021. 26 days later, a new state-of-the-art algorithm, developed by the inventor of the original algorithm, was presented to senior FDA officials, showing 49 cases of extreme masking, 25 safety signals, including sudden cardiac death, pulmonary infarction, Bell's palsy, different types of strokes. Month after month after month, they continue to do this data mining. They continue to show additional safety signals. Did Peter Marks, did Anthony Fauci, did President Biden go to the American public and say, hang on here, we've got some data, we've got some concerns? No.
Nope.
No. They blamed the unvaccinated for causing.
And it is actually fucking true that Trump gave him the green light. They gave him the fucking blank check for this shit. Yes, it is 100% absolutely fucking true that Orange Man did create this bullshit.
For continuing the pandemic. This is a pandemic of the unvaccinated. We need to mandate this. This is what government does. This is what the deep state does. I can't explain it all. My investigation now, because I finally got documents. This would never have happened if we didn't have documents. And by the way, just like we found that David Morin's email that now has resulted in prosecution, where he has a FOIA lead, show him how many emails disappeared. If you send me something sensitive to my Gmail, we have the same types of evidence in our report. We need to get to the bottom of this. And right now, I'm just using this moment. I need the mainstream media, CBS, ABC, CNN, to step forward and start covering what is a major scandal. How many thousands, tens, hundreds of thousands of people are permanently disabled or possibly lost their life because our FDA hid the fact that there were safety signals screaming at them with the COVID injection. So again, you can't answer all my questions in terms of who's, but we need to figure out who is running this deep state. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Senator Johnson, I completely concur with the call for a church committee, but I'll tell you how difficult it is. Church committee was like 1975, 50 some odd years ago. I've been trying to get the classified version of the church committee for over 2 years, but I've been blocked by the Intel committee, including someone from our own party is blocking having me. They've shown me a room with 400 boxes, and I can go look in all the boxes to see if I can find it. My staff's not allowed to go in the room, but they will not reveal to me something that's 50 years old that should be declassified for the public, much less for me.
Maybe we should go together. It probably only takes about 4 or 5 years to dig through all the boxes.
That's right. Senator Holly.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Erdman, thank you for being here. In March of 2023.
How about y'all motherfuckers do something about it instead of jerking each other's fucking dicks and trying to find some shit that maybe, just maybe, might fucking do something? How about every fucking one of you do it? Oh, we can't do that? Why? Because it would implicate damn near every single fucking one of you in treason against the United States of America.
The Senate unanimously passed legislation requiring the Office of the Director of National Intelligence to declassify all, I believe the exact language is, declassify any and all information related to potential links between the Wuhan Institute of Virology and the origins of COVID-19. I have some familiarity with this legislation because I wrote it. It passed the House unanimously. President Biden signed it into law under, I think, popular duress. As you may remember, well, first of all, are you familiar with this law?
Oh, of course, yes.
As you may recall, it set a statutory deadline of just a couple of months later, which the Biden administration promptly ignored and blew through. When they finally did release the report, I think we've got a picture of it here that'll appear over my shoulder. It was all of 5 pages. Yeah. Here it is. Wait for it. 5 pages. Remember, the law says any and all information. 5 pages, heavily redacted, even the 5 pages. I think one of those pages is like a cover note or something. Yeah, here it is. The executive summary, 5 pages. This is, according to the Office of the Director of National Intelligence, this is any and all information related to COVID-19 and the Wuhan Virology Lab. Now, you've been on this task force that has reviewed these documents. Is this all the information the United States government had?
That is not all the information. And I'll tell you a little story about that if you'd like.
Please.
A story about your 5 pages there. So there was a classified report being written at the time all of this was going on. And I assumed as I'm reading through the documents that they would just take that classified report, which didn't look like that, and they would just redact it. And because I'm reading through the documents, but that is not what happened. They decided to write a different paper instead of what was already.
Who you say they? Who's they?
The National Intelligence Council.
The National Intelligence Council was at the time that the law passed was doing a thorough review, or doing a review. We don't know how thorough. How many pages? You've been on this task force. You've gotten a sense of, if it's not 5.
So he's saying they actually altered everything in their whole review to cover up their complicity?
Pages. How many pages worth of information would you guess the United States government was in possession of related to Wuhan lab and COVID possible links?
I can tell you that Director Gabbard is working through, I believe, 2,000 pages.
2,000?
They're trying to get released in the first batch. This is the law states yes, any and all, but there's still the requirement to run it through the different agencies to ensure that there's not some sources and methods. But there's like 2,000 pages.
2,000 pages. 2,000 pages. I want to show you what Avril Haines, Director Haines, said to me when I wrote to her, Senator Braun and I wrote to her following this outrageous, ridiculous report. She wrote back to me and said, well, we classified.
The same shit that was taken from Tulsi Gabbard's office. 2,000 fucking pages. The 2,000 goddamn pages that refer to this shit. You know, maybe Luna was right. Not in the sense that everybody wants to bring it out to be, but she is right because she had the forethought of it. Yeah. These pages put your complicity into it. And you went into the Director of National Intelligence office to collect the shit. As somebody said before this administration took office, somebody said you could have. Now, with that in mind, I will say 100%. Good on Tulsi Gabbard for actually fucking doing it. You complied. You played by the rules, man. But somehow I don't think this is gonna go well for you simply because it is Tulsi Gabbard. The same woman that was for the vice chair of the DNC. The whole committee, the vice chair of the whole committee, as soon as she took fucking office in 2013, this bitch was the end-all be-all. And I say bitch with all loving fucking intent. And she was the end-all be-all. Started going through the process, started noticing y'all bitches ain't really what you claim to be, to the whole point to where she knew Kamala goddamn Harris in the 2020 fucking debates because she knows it's a slam dunk fucking win for me, or for the fucking public if I say this shit, because they're saying it, they know it. They know this is a thing, so if I say it, Instant fucking poll boost. What happened? I'm sorry, wasn't she iced the fuck out of the Democratic fucking primaries? Because she said Kamala Harris kept people beyond their fucking sentences for drug crimes to keep their fucking their pay low to fight wildfires and shit like that. Like they were literally just keeping people behind fucking bars to slave labor. The bitch was doing slave labor in California while raging out against how racism and slave labor to black people were a thing, while the bitch owned slaves. I'm sorry, guys. Look, I do have a very conservative audience. I do understand that. You know, Davey's part of that too. And there are people that want to hear Davey more than they will hear me. You know, I get you. Cool. A woman that was planted as a goddamn Russian agent just because she said some shit that was actually fucking true is now leading the director of national goddamn intelligence and damn near every single motherfucker. I will admit it. Every single. The Senate, House, it don't matter. Every single, damn near every single motherfucker will be very respectful to this woman. Either she has some shit on you, or you know damn well this woman's got some power because you can't find shit on her. Either way, held by a woman of all sorts. In that kind of position, with that kind of fucking respect. And there ain't really a motherfucker on here in any way in the public forum who can say anything bad about her other than shit that can be debunked easily. Y'all are sleeping. You're fucking sleeping. But you want to start some shit. Oh, because she has a different view than the president about something. And she's still following the president's fucking view, even though personally she doesn't like it. Tell me why the fuck you shouldn't be saying, I respect Tulsi. Even if I don't believe her, even if I don't like her, I respect her because she is doing exactly what the fuck every single one of us want to see happen. Regardless of your personal beliefs, do the fucking job we tell you to do. And somehow that's a problem with Tulsi Gabbard. I want y'all to take that into fucking consideration.
We declassified only what we could without endangering sources and methods. Only what we could. 5 pages of summary that itself has redactions. The 5 pages have redactions. And you're telling me there are literally thousands of documents. Why are they hiding all of this material?
I can tell you that the interagency process of declassification is highly bureaucratic, and that is being worked. And I think you saw just a few days ago, Director Gabbard released some information about the labs.
Was Director Haynes, Avril Haynes, was she involved in making the decision not to release the material?
30 biolabs.
I don't have any proof that she was involved in the direct decision. I have no.
Or the 100 that are supposed.
It was her office, and it's her signature on the letter to me. It's her office that sent the 5 pages, and she's the one who said, this is what we have.
Yeah.
This is all we have. You're telling me there were 2,000 plus documents.
No, I'm
they
telling
sent
you
us
that
5.
the first swath of documents that we're looking to, there's many more than that.
I got you. Many more. Let me tell you what this so-called 5-page report, what it said in its substance, to the extent there was any. They said, number one, that nothing that was researched at the Wuhan lab could plausibly be a progenitor of SARS-CoV-2. Number two, they said there is no evidence of any research-related incident involving Wuhan employees that might have been related to the pandemic.
Peace. How you doing?
In your experience, given what you have seen, are those true statements?
Some of that would have to be covered and classified, but no, they're not true. If we wanted to get into details, I don't believe that's true.
So the United States government first deliberately violated a law passed by Congress, signed by the president, that ordered them to release all information related to the Wuhan lab, number one. Number two, they then violated the law again by withholding thousands and thousands of pages that they had at the time and knew were covered by the law. Number three, the conclusions, so-called, they released to the public are false. If that is not cover-up, I don't know what is. And if our elected officials and unelected officials in this case, in the IC and ODNI, if they can get by with blatantly violating the statutes of this country and lying to the American people, I'm sorry, but we don't have a democracy anymore. I don't know what it is, but it's not a democracy because we, the people, aren't in charge. These people are in charge, and they're lying to us every single day. You said in your opening statement that Dr. Fauci, speaking of someone who's not exactly a truth teller,
I mean,
that
he's
Dr.
speaking
Fauci
truth.
intervened to put his thumb on the scale of what information the intelligence community, the IC, could review when they did their initial assessments of whether or not the Wuhan lab was linked to COVID. What exactly did he do?
So let me clarify that. So he reached in and he provided this list of scientists and subject matter experts that we should talk to. And it's not like he's saying you will go talk to them. He doesn't have the power to do that technically. It's just that the bureaucracy in place at the time was perfectly happy to pursue those recommendations, even when there was a number of individuals who expressed concern, saying, at least one for sure, that said, are you sure we want to do this? He's a policymaker, and we need to have our intelligence cycle.
And he had a point of view, did he not?
He certainly did.
And what was that point of view? Just refresh our memories.
He believes it's natural origin. He still does.
Of course. I mean, he said this over and over. Now, he would have reason to, given that he supported gain-of-function research to the Wuhan lab, lied about it to Congress, lied about it repeatedly to the chairman, as I recall. So his hands are dirty in this. And yet here he is intervening behind the scenes. It's bad enough that he's out there misleading the public. Behind the scenes, he's trying to intervene to stop our own intelligence community, who are supposed to work for the public, from actually accurately assessing the evidence. This is unbelievable. This is unbelievable. And then people wonder, gee, why are the American people not trusting of elected officials? I wonder. Why are they? I'll tell you why, because we are repeatedly lied to by these people. Lied to and lied to and lied to. I want to thank you, Mr. Erdman, for your testimony. I just want to note, I think we've only scratched the surface here. Thank you, Mr. Chairman, for calling this hearing. And I just want to point out, we've got a witness who's saying under oath that the report that the government issued lied to the American people, that it is false. We've got a big problem in this country. We've got a big, big problem, and we haven't begun to solve it yet. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Senator Moody.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I think this is one of the most important hearings we will hold during this administration. I think when the country went mad, and I don't care if you consider yourself a blue state or a red state, the country went mad, and people were craving leadership and leadership that truly was based on science, not someone that alleged they were following science and seemed to care more about controlling the public. I think this is one of the most important hearings, and I think everyone that actually showed up today, and you see who is here involved and taking part in this hearing, are the ones that want, on behalf of the American people, who are, by the way, are supposed to be in charge of the United States of America, want to get to the bottom of what happened, and not just because that's right, so that the people that are in charge of this nation understood what happened, but so that this never happens again. And if we are trying to prevent a government that is trying to control a populace based on nothing, based on no justification, and making sure that that never happens again, I just want it to be very clear to everyone in this room or anyone who has taken the time to watch that cares about their country and understands what it means to protect freedom. I just want them to see who showed up today and who is participating and who has thanked you for coming out bravely and disclosing these facts, what happened, and your opinion based on your years, decades of experience. I, for one, hailing from the great free state of Florida. Florida used to be known for flamingos. We're now known for freedom. That is because what took place over the last administration, and when churches were closed, when businesses were closed, when schools were closed, when people were shut up in their apartments, when families were prohibited from socializing and gathering, many were kept from their loved ones when they died, all under this guidance of government leading based on science. We really have to go back and question that, because that cannot happen in this country. And I think many of us that were in charge at the time question how we ever allowed that to happen. And certainly in Florida, I am so proud, along with Governor DeSantis, we led against that tide in many respects. And when people were still being told to stay at home, don't let your kids go to school, don't go to church, all of these things that seem insane right now, we didn't. We stood up for the truth. We tried our best to discern what was true, what was not, what didn't make sense. And let me tell you why things didn't make sense. And first of all, you had your Secretary of HHS, which was basically invisible, checked out. Those are words of the Biden administration at the time. Officials from the Biden administration said Secretary Becerra was invisible, checked out, an unfortunate choice for the role. And then you had Dr. Fauci, who came out and contradicted himself constantly. At one point, he even admitted later, he told people shouldn't be walking around with masks on. And later he said that was because we were trying to control the supply for healthcare professionals. It wasn't based on any science. But then later he told everyone to wear masks repeatedly. The 6-foot rule seemed to have been just crafted out of thin air with no basis in science whatsoever. In fact, he said that rule sort of just appeared when he testified, and that guidance on the shutdown of schools and small businesses was arbitrary and not based on any science. So I just want to make sure the American people hear that. You had a government who's supposed to be limited and stay out of people's lives, coming in and offering guidance. Many times it was done under mandates to close businesses, people's livelihoods, to keep children from being educated, to keep people from expressing their faith and gathering to show freedom of religion and their faith and expression. I mean, unbelievable what happened during the COVID years. I was so proud of my state, along with Governor DeSantis. We launched a grand jury investigation because the federal government sure wasn't doing it. And we got to the bottom of some of this, what was being said publicly by those that we had trusted in these positions, and how that was not actually the truth and the science. That was where the name the Free State of Florida has come from. And I'm so glad now to be here as one of the newest United States senators, bringing that experience, that grand jury investigation, everything that we did.
I'm sorry, hold up. As one of the newest United States senators, ma'am, I'm gonna tell you, I ain't hearing shit from you, other than the fact that I feel passionate about something, and I'm just gonna scream. You have done nothing. You have said nothing. This entire damn time, you have just said, I am outraged about something that I have absolutely no idea fucking about.
Differently in Florida and stood up to the madness, because that is how the people remain in charge of their government. In the grand jury investigation that we did, we followed the evidence. We found that many of those policies, including masking, lockdown mandates, they lack sufficient scientific basis, and they in fact caused significant harm to Floridians. The same grand jury found a pattern. I'm quoting the grand jury here. This is a nonpartisan group acquired from the community to judge facts, a pattern of deceptive and obfuscatory behavior from both Big Pharma and the federal agencies charged with regulating them with respect to the COVID vaccines. So it appears from everything that we found from our own investigation, an unbiased, totally separate review of what was being said publicly by the federal government compared to what was actually based in science, it found that most of what was said and the events surrounding it was a public health establishment that was fixated on controlling the public and forcing narratives rather than protecting public health or discovering the truth. And so I am grateful that you were willing to be here today. I know that this is under subpoena, but certainly it takes courage and to be here and to be a whistleblower that can get accountability for the American people. You know, Florida was years ahead of the federal government's supposed experts. We're proud of that, but this is so important. And so I want to know, and I have one question. We're getting to the what. What happened? We were glad that Florida led on that. Even while people remained locked down, we were trying to get to the answers. What happened? But in all of your reviews and what you've been able to compile and what you're saying today, what is the why? Why?
Why did the cover-up happen? I think there's a lot of incentives, misaligned incentives that have been created because of this highly opaque and complex system of laboratories, life science research. And the IC is just one component of that. Why did it happen inside the CIA and inside DNI and inside the interagency space when they were doing the analysis over the course of 4 years? Part of it is iron rice bowls, you know, your normal bureaucratic issues where one agency has this, another agency has that. There was groupthink. You could see it happening in real time as you read from beginning to end. I'll give you a couple examples. Every time there was an open source publication that came out, they're very good at grabbing that and kicking it up for the contracted scientists, you know, the BSEG, to take a look at and assess. And the goal, it seemed, it always leaned one direction. They never took the publications from Sorensen and Dalglish, who came out very early. I think it was July 2020 that one of the best papers written was open source by Sorensen and Dalglish. They never took those papers and said, wow, we've got a lot here, we need to make sure we get this added in. Or Dr. Stephen Quay, for example, who had a lot to say about COVID origins. It was always one direction, and because the interagency space seemed intent on pushing it that way, and why the interagency space? I think the interagency space, I'm talking about the National Intelligence Council and the people responsible for that. I mean, these are people who have relationships with the National Academy of Scientists and the National Academy of Sciences. They've got relationships with the WMD community, and they're all part of the same, I don't know, ecosystem. The planets are all revolving around the same star. And so you get groupthink. There's a multitude of reasons.
Is so that because the agency that you are working for, because your higher ups are saying, hey, take a look at this, that is an authority laying down that this is absolute 100% fact, and it all leaned one goddamn way. So these motherfuckers never heard a reverse goddamn argument in any kind of a real authoritative way. They never heard any kind of argument in authoritative way to say this has fucking merit.
I didn't find any smoking gun where they said, well, we got to cover this up because for sure the U.S. government paid for research in Wuhan, China. But they were certainly well aware of PREDICT. They were well aware of the diffuse proposal that had circulated. They had those products available to them. I think you get enough people shouting something down, it gets shouted down. And that happened repeatedly. I do want to just, if I can take just a moment, particularly about the scientists that are brought forward. I really, really want to emphasize a couple things, and one of it is we can't vilify these scientists. I'm going to give a very short anecdote, and I hope I'm not going over on time or anything like that. But when I got hired to the CIA, I can't tell you how proud I was. I really couldn't believe that they hired me. I'm sure there's some friends who are like, yeah, I can't believe it either. But they hired me because they saw potential to be able to be somebody who could recruit spies and steal secrets. That's my job. Imagine you're a scientist. Imagine the US government comes to you and says, listen, sir, you are a specialist in a field no one else knows about. And in fact, a PhD is, the whole point of a PhD is to push beyond what's known further than anybody else in a very rarefied field. Imagine you're a scientist and the CIA comes up to you and says, or the NIC, the intelligence community, comes up to you and says, you're special, not because we see potential, but because we know you're special and we need your help. We can't vilify these people who wanted to help. We can, however, boy, I might be contradicting myself here, but the system definitely needs a look, because the system has been put in place now, and you've got these same people that we've said, you're important to the IC. We just haven't done the proper work to ensure that those people who are important to the IC aren't cross-pollinated all over in other places so that they can incentivize the kind of research that we need done or the white papers we need written. We have to have a holistic overview, and I think it's really hard to have like one agency do their review, another agency do their review, the legislative branch do their review. In this case, it is a team sport.
So one answer also, Senator Moody, to your question about the why, people think, well, gosh, was there a conspiracy where all these evil people had their hands together and they were conspiring to do something bad? And I think George Carlin put it the best. He said it isn't required that you come up with a conspiracy where interests converge. And I think the interest is we funded a lot of dangerous research. Accidents have happened. This was an accident. In all likelihood, this was an accident. Even the Chinese probably didn't want this to happen in Wuhan. It was an accident. But the interest is that if you funded that research for 10 years, wouldn't I logically want to ask you why you did this funding? And so there are dozens of people throughout government who did cover this up, maybe hundreds. They don't even know each other necessarily, but they had a hand in funding this research through the years. They've been in favor of it. It's been a big debate. For 20 some odd years, there's been a huge debate, maybe longer. People think this is the first virus that got out. One of the most, it's not as much reported, but one of the most famous viruses.
I do want to hit this. Sorry, I was coughing. He is right. He is 100% fucking right. In all actuality, this is probably a goddamn accident. China was dealing with their one child policy and everything like that. Their birth rate had declined. Their fucking economy couldn't keep up with some shit. To release a virus that would supposedly kill, what was it, 20% of their population? Now, to use this as a biological weapon, knowing everything, let's say you know everything about it, to use it as a biological weapon, the only way you knew that would be effective would be to lock down your people. I mean, you're literally welding them into their homes and shit like that. I get you as far as that goes, but I don't think China actually fucking... You're talking about the country that got hit was the first SARS, the MERS, and everything else. Like, they've been hit with pretty much fucking everything. Like, literally fucking back to back. And then you get hit with this shit that you supposedly has a high-ass fucking kill rate. And supposedly it was released. Somebody licked a bat's asshole. Let's roll with that. Because, holy shit, this was an accident. I actually fully fucking believe it. But let's not fucking forget this was man-made and we did it to our goddamn selves. So those that have actually fucking did it should be held responsible for something, even if it was an accidental release. Right? So why the fuck is Fauci free? Because the motherfucker made the goddamn fucking argument that no, we did not do gain-of-function research. We just genetically engineered a fucking virus to gain a function.
viruses that got out was the Russian flu of 1977. And we're not sure it came from Russia or where it came from. But the interesting thing is nobody over 24 got the flu. Zero. Not one person. Why? Because the Russian flu of 1977 had the exact same RNA structure as a flu in 1953 that had been kept in a lab somewhere. How do you get an identical virus 30 years later? The viruses mutate every couple of months like COVID has. There is no way to have an identical virus unless you got it from a lab. So proof positive that the 1977 flu actually came out of a lab. An accident. Once again, an accident. There's a woman who's written about this. I think her last name is Young. She says that over a period of years, like 1,500 major accidents that she's cataloged. So it's not only about malfeasance, it's about safety of these labs. In fact, some people were finally convinced that this came from Wuhan because it was a BSL-2 instead of a BSL-4 for much of the time that didn't have enough safety precautions. But even the safest one, the 4, still has accidents. So maybe some of these experiments, we ought to reconsider whether we do them.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And it just goes to show why it's helpful to have a doctor as our chairman. You could also be a witness.
Thank you.
Yeah, we should reconsider that. I 100% stand behind Rand Paul on that. Motherfucker, you remember... Hold up. You remember the monkeypox shit? Yeah. The fucking disease that 97% of the cases came from the gay community. Let me turn my camera back on. I'll put my face on here while I say this. You remember that shit? Monkeypox? Yeah, 97% of all cases came from the gay community, and they're just like, well, hold up. Fucking shut up with this, alright? Now, here's the fucked up, weird fucking part of it. There was a biolab in Philadelphia where 100 fucking monkeys were being transported from this biolab. And these 100 monkeys had gotten into an accident and some had escaped. As civilians had found these monkeys and were trying to help them rein them the fuck in, right? They were people who had interacted with these monkeys who were showing smallpox symptoms. Now, come to find out that this actual biolab in Philadelphia had vials of smallpox. Vials of smallpox were there because they were trying to make a vaccine for smallpox. Now here's the fucked up thing, ladies and gentlemen. The smallpox can only be in 3 places around the world. Russia? I don't fucking know why. Afghanistan? Who the fuck knows why? And Atlanta, goddamn Georgia. Tell me why the fuck smallpox was in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. And hold up. All this shit happens. Everybody starts getting smallpox, monkeypox kinds of situations. All this shit's happening right now. The monkeypox outbreaks fucking happens. And all this shit across the United States of America. Not too long after that incident, right? Monkeypox outbreak fucking happened because Philadelphia, Pennsylvania had smallpox, and everybody turned a blind eye to that shit, right? FBI moved in, they're just like, hey, look, we're gonna see why this happens. What the fuck came out about that? I just want to ask, y'all remember that shit?
We're going to conclude pretty quickly. I'm going to give Senator Johnson another chance if you have another question.
I've got a quick question that I want to go someplace else. In September 2023, we apparently had a CI whistleblower come forward, and there are news articles written about this, that 6 of the 7 analysts...
I want y'all to understand, not a goddamn Democrat was in this fucking crowd. Not a goddamn one. So technically... No, I take that back. Because they did have a ranking member. The ranking member did not stay, so technically they could not hold quorum the entire time. They started out with quorum, but they could not hold quorum the entire time. Everybody else has left. The only ones that stayed this entire goddamn time are the chair and Senator Johnson.
Describe this were bribed to change their analysis. Is that true?
No. So there's some clarifications on that. What is true, and I thank you for bringing up this question, Senator Johnson, because this is one of the things I wanted to make sure the record was corrected. So, and if I have just a few minutes here to sort of talk through this, there was new information that came out in 2022, and it forced the community to try and conduct a relook. There were 10 CIA scientists, I'm talking from the CIA side now, not on the next side, 10 CIA scientists that were said, why don't you go ahead and do a COVID relook? On that team, there were 7 SMEs, subject matter experts, technical experts with lab experience, medical experience, and so they began their relook. And by the time they wrote their paper, they wrote a paper and they said, we're assessing this as a lab leak. 8 of the 10, according to multiple whistleblowers, 8 of the 10 were definitely leaning in on lab leak. They sent that paper, that draft paper, up to the Weapons and Counterproliferation Center front office and said, take a look. And magically, a new report shows up that allegedly contradicted the information that had come in earlier that year. The multiple people we spoke to said, yeah, it didn't really contradict it. But they were told, go back to the drawing board and do a reassessment. So the interagency got involved. They were having discussions. So they go back to the drawing board. And by the time 2023 rolls around, they've got their answer. They say, 6 of the 7 technical people on that team. So there's 10 people on the team. 6 of the 7 technical experts say, yep, we still think it's a lab leak. We still think it's a lab leak. And they were sticking to their guns.
You remember how that story on COVID hit the Lancet? And because they removed the story on COVID from the Lancet because it wasn't peer reviewed, which is what the Lancet goddamn is in the first fucking place, is you throw that up for peer review. And all this shit was removed from the Lancet for peer review problems.
Management changed the analytic line. They changed the conclusion to a non-consensus call. Actually, worse than that, they said that the exact words were, I don't want to get this wrong. Excuse me. We may never precisely know the origin of SARS-CoV-2. Precisely. Precisely is not a term analysts use. They use like low confidence, medium confidence, yes, no. Precisely is a word you use when you want to deliberately and
precisely means you know exactly, goddamn patient one, how it happened, why it happened, who it happened, and the conditions behind that. Precisely means you know exactly 100% how that goddamn virus mutated to infect humans at that moment in time. That is precise as a standard in science. So using I don't understand precisely means I don't understand patient fucking 0 and the moment of infection and what happened.
Discussion. Because do you know how many resources we need to precisely know the origin of SARS-CoV-2?
So again, I want the chairman to indulge me a little bit more here. There's no bribes paid. This is just a management decision. They overrode what the, okay.
But the financial piece definitely needs to be looked into because they did receive an EPA. They got it. It's $1,500.
Okay, so it may be true then.
No. Let me be very clear. There were no bribes. They received an exceptional performance award. They were upset with it, and it was not a bribe. But what I will say, the people who
they were rewarded for
their work. They didn't know they were going to get it.
Okay,
they were
I got you. Okay, I got you. I understand this distinction. One point, one question. Just received this from Liz Lyon, the CIA Director of Public Affairs. The committee acted in bad faith by subpoenaing an agency officer for testimony today without notifying CIA. Despite having already obtained closed-door testimony from the individual previously, the witness testifying today is not appearing as a whistleblower in pursuit of the truth, but instead in response to the subpoena issued by Chairman Paul. This proceeding amounts to nothing more than a dishonest political theater masquerading as a congressional hearing, as the CIA has already assessed COVID-19 most likely originated from the lab leak, and efforts to undermine that conclusion are disingenuous. I'm calling on CIA Director Radcliffe and this person to apologize to Chairman Paul and this committee. This is not political theater. I have years and years and years of built-up frustration.
I want you to understand, this motherfucker wrote a letter that needs to be read in committee, but would not show the fuck up to say this himself. Holy fucking shit. You had to have somebody else read your goddamn words because you would not stand up a fucking full goddamn chest and say it with every bit of what you do. You had to disappear and make somebody else read your words.
Of agencies like the CIA, Department of Justice, the FBI, HHS, snubbing our oversight, giving us the big middle finger. And that really leads me to my question. You talked about how proud you were. Okay, I can imagine that. My belief is I'd say most people serving in government, all these agencies, are doing good work. They're patriots. Why aren't there more people like you? I mean, you saw Josh Hawley's, Senator Hawley's, the 5-page snub, the 5-page middle finger saying, any and all, this is it. And people inside the agencies know that's not the truth. They know that is a big, fat lie. What happens inside the agency that the people, good Americans, patriotic Americans, people who believe in democracy, witness that and realize the agency they're working for is lying bold-face to legitimate congressional oversight, legitimate congressional investigations to the American people? What is causing this?
Two answers. One, we need more leaders like Director Gabbard, who pulls together a task force of people to actually pursue this, despite the difficulty in wrangling agencies to do the right thing. I think the second thing I'll say is it's a minority of officers. I mean, most of the people joining the CIA are barrel-chested freedom fighters. Like, they're out there wanting to do the right thing.
We are way beyond apologies.
As you matriculate upwards into the bureaucracy, I just think that it gets easier and easier to find people who are more willing to get along. And, you know, if we want to link this back to COVID,
what up, kid?
You had a bunch of refuseniks out there that said no.
On the,
and they were trying to push these people out. And what you really need in these organizations, you can't have the whole organization saying no to everything because nothing gets done. But you got to retain the people who are sometimes a little more difficult to deal with, more willing to say no over and over. And I think we've created a milquetoast bureaucracy. When I first joined the agency, the chiefs of offices had a lot of power, and then modernization happened, and they watered everything down, and the accountability piece has to be there. Otherwise, this is just going to keep happening.
Well, again, I appreciate you coming forward. Again, I'm calling on Director Radcliffe and that communications person. This committee, this chairman needs an apology. This is not political theater. This is serious oversight work. This is what the American people need to see. And I just wish our Democrat colleagues had any level of curiosity what's happening inside the deep state. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, and I completely concur. And I would also like to respond to the CIA spokesman. They say that we have.
Why the fuck would they care when they are that? Oh, why the fuck would they care what you're looking into them for when they are that? The only goddamn reason would be to find out how to fight you and say shut the fuck up. But it's not goddamn working. And simply because of people like me. It's not goddamn working anymore, and they understand that they're scrambling. Redistricting fell apart. All those gerrymandered states because, hey, black people are a monolith and they need to be heard, right? Well, you can't. I mean, you can't do anything based on race, right? So creating districts based on race it's racism, and you can't fucking do it. Tell me why the Democrat Party still fucking advocates for segregation. I'm the most liberal one among you. Tell me why this is a fucking thing. That these are the same motherfuckers that told you that because of Operation Warp Speed, because, all right, let's take everything into account with COVID. Everything into account. Okay, yes. COVID comes along. This is a human engineered virus. Yes, I get you. Cool. You were trying to prepare, so if anything could happen, you would have something. Therefore, mRNA technology looks promising as fuck with that kind of shit. Get you? Cool. You don't fucking think it through. But because you were thinking if mRNA technology fucking around and making viruses do as something different in preparation for if they actually found that naturally and somehow that virus gets out. Yo, isn't that is that or is that not the same goddamn storyline from Resident Evil? What up, Cassandra? How you doing? Yeah, we will be ending soon, but we got 28 at 34 here. We will be ending soon, probably about 20 minutes or so, depending on the rants that I go on, and you know me, but yeah. But no, that's the same shit of Resident Evil, right? The Umbrella Corp is actually trying to develop viruses that may or could do something that would affect the human race, and they were trying to find a way to combat that, right? So they were giving these viruses that could do something, and it was accidentally released on the public that horribly mutated everybody and made it into the genre that we know. But was Resident Evil the franchise that said, hey, look, this is what happens with biological weapons, and everybody said, holy goddamn fuck. And here we are living it out in real time. I mean, are we getting horribly mutated people? I don't fucking know. You ask me. How the fuck did turbo cancer come into fucking play? Did you ever hear about turbo cancer in your goddamn lifetime? Myocarditis was on the rise, and somehow that's something that happens within the healthiest among us. Your immune system is a goddamn right-wing conspiracy theory. Hold the fuck up. And you're sitting here telling me that none of this, not a goddamn bit of it, it all just happened organically. Maybe the release was it's a hey, don't let a crisis go to waste kind of situation. I can still get on board with that theory 100%. Maybe this was a complete goddamn accident. But every single bit of this leans to coordination, especially when it comes from goddamn China, and China is supposed to economically supplant us by 20 goddamn 30, and all of this aligns up pretty much on fucking point. The only goddamn wrench in the system was Donald Trump. Hold up. Hold up. Now let's follow this to its logical conclusion. We've gotten to this point, right? Let's follow this to its logical conclusion from both sides. Okay, this was a complete fucking 100% accident. It might have come from a lab. It probably did. But it was a complete 100% accident. Yeah, go to Chinatown, hug an Asian man because racism, orange man bad because there's this deadly virus that accidentally fucking got released, right? Hug an Asian. Wasn't it Pelosi? Go to Chinatown, that this is a xenophobia. And then as soon as all of a sudden it was like, holy shit, this could actually be a thing. But now you're racist for shutting down the fucking border, right? And because you said this was a fucking virus that came from China, somehow you're goddamn racist for saying the Chinese might have released a virus on us? Doesn't this seem a little bit more coordinated? When putting it in that aspect, that thought process, doesn't it seem a little bit more coordinated? Now, hold on. Okay, cool. Everything was happening politically as it stands. Okay, Trump was dominating from 2016 to 2019 when BLM started to become a thing, dividing based on race because, well, black people need to boost up because they can't do a goddamn thing for themselves unless white people give them everything. I mean, that was the messaging, right? That was going on. So, holy shit, this virus gets out. Well, let's fearmonger on this shit. Black people. Take a step back, right? Nope, we can't do that. Holy shit. So now we got fucking videos of black people going out there and rioting and sharing champagne bottles amongst themselves while we're supposed to be fearing it. How do you combat this? I mean, come on, hold up. Track it. The least possible assumptions that come to a conclusion. Racism was being pushed because they didn't fucking know. COVID was an accident 100% across the board. Yes, it was released from a lab. They were doing some shit on it. It got the fuck out. But because of that, why not use that to our advantage? Just shut everything down, shove politics down everybody's goddamn throat in that fucking instance when everything was taken from them. Everything. How many of you were deemed essential? Or versus how many of you were deemed not essential as far as our fucking government is concerned? I was deemed essential. I'm communications. I'm IT. I'm essential. How many of you were checking motherfuckers out at a goddamn grocery store or something? Could it have been an accident? 100%. Could it have been purposely released? 100 goddamn %. But I'm gonna be completely honest with every single fucking one of you. I think this was taking advantage of a fucked up situation of wrenching the fucking system. But because they took advantage of a wrench in the system and everybody complied, they knew they can control you. And because that message got the fuck out, that weapon was actually effectively taken away. So when they actually come out and say, yo, this is going to be a goddamn problem because we made it a problem, you're not going to believe it. Hantavirus? You got to be kissing, sucking, fucking, dicking down somebody. I mean, somebody's going to be a cum dumpster in this situation for this shit to actually fucking happen. Not really in that kind of situation, yes. But yes, close intimate contact of this kind of situation, kind of like the monkey virus. Again, how many times can we scare you? Okay. This shit happens, this shit happens, this shit happens. And then you get numb to it. You get used to saying this is bullshit immediately. Let's say a purposeful bioweapon is released at that point in time when you don't believe a goddamn thing. When somebody says, hey, this is killing motherfuckers, and you're like, nope. It's purposely released. And because you've seen this shit before, you've seen the mannequins in goddamn videos, as they said, everybody was filling up the fucking, your hospitals. Meanwhile, your fucking hospital sat empty. You remember this, you know this, but they say it's fucking real. I don't even have to add AI into that to make it a fucking dystopian nightmare, right? I'm telling you, pay the fuck attention. That this shit was a cover-up. This shit was used for political fucking gain. Do I believe SARS-CoV-2 was an accident? Yes. Do I believe it was used for political gain? 100 goddamn %. Nobody can deny any of this. You can either say whether it was political, yeah, we can argue the whole points behind it, but taking everything into account, it does seem like an accident that actually fucking happened, and everybody took advantage because a social reset had to happen, right? The Great Reset is what they called it. It all seems to line up according to some kind of fucking plan. But if that's the case, the only fucking wrench in that system was me talking to you, people like us talking to you in that kind of situation. That's the only thing to stop that. So if that's the case, pushing on people like us, silencing us, was all this planned? Or is everybody reacting to a fucked up situation that implicates every single fucking person at the highest goddamn level to say, fuck you, I own you? What up, Lewis? Beam me up.
Already obtained closed-door testimony. Well, closed-door testimony doesn't provide oversight. Public testimony provides oversight. We have asked them for public testimony and for oversight. We would love to have the scientists, the 6 or 7 scientists that were commissioned to look at this, we'd love to see their report. Why would we not be allowed to see their report? I can't even read that in private. But that should be public, the science. If there are sources and methods, mark them out, redact them. But we should be able to see that.
But for them to have the gall to say, oh, we allowed the witness to testify in private and that should be enough. No, you were told by Congress unanimously to declassify this material and you send us 5 pages. Imagine how many, you mentioned maybe 2,000 pages. DOE has a report. That's got to be 40 or 50 pages, but the base documents for DOE's report are probably run into the hundreds of pages just for that one report. And they did a great analysis of this, but still most of that is not available to the public. Why does it need to be available? Because this is going to happen again and we need to be prepared and we need to talk about it. One of the other things we didn't get to in this hearing, but we need to talk to, how do you prepare for the next pandemic? Well, one of the things that actually worked was monoclonal antibodies. We need to be talking about how we can quickly produce them again, how we can quickly get started on.
The part of CRISPR that is actually fucking working. Monoclonal antibodies are antibodies that are actually fucking blank. You can write them to whatever situation's going on. It's kind of like you're putting your immune system, your personal immune system, on fucking steroids. I give you every blank copy to write it to whatever the fuck you want to write it to. Again, and I say it. What happens now? Biologically, everything that makes me who I am, everything that I can eat, everything I can digest, everything that turns me into me biologically, it could be 100% detrimental and antithetical to who you are on the same fucking level. So if I give a general of fucking information into every single biological system that is 100% fundamentally different, what happens? We found out. And the results were horrifying. And that's what the fuck I was telling every single fucking person throughout this entire thing. mRNA technology is awesome. CRISPR is it's a fundamentally and ethically, it's fucking amazing. However, the same shit that can immunize you from any disease could also be the same shit that ends you. Because on a genetic level, you were supposed to take a right instead of a left. Think about that. Now, what made Walmart so fucking effective back in the day? As Sam Walton, every goddamn one of us, every single one of these, every single one of my Walmarts, every single layout's going to be the same, no matter where you are, no matter in any store you go to, any Walmart across the fucking country, it don't matter, it's laid out the same. Everybody knows where everything is. Versus a system that now runs like Walmart now. You give blanket instructions as how Walmart should run to how let me restart that because that was fucked up. I'm a little drunk. You give blanket instructions like how Walmart used to run versus how Walmart runs now. There ain't no fucking way it's going to be effective in any way. You're going to have all kinds of fucked up problems simply because it's not tailor-made to the situation, which is what Walmart is now. Everything that you see in Walmart is tailor-made to your region, your area, Right down to your fucking city. What I find in my Walmart will be completely different from what you find in yours. And you are saying Walmart must do this in every fucking aisle, in every goddamn shelf, in every fucking station along every shelf. Walmart must do this in this situation to be effective in a situation where every goddamn Walmart is laid out differently. That's what it was. I gotta pee again. We're gonna finish up here.
Things like that. What worked and what didn't work. Masks didn't work. 6 feet of distancing, there was no science. They say follow the science, and yet it looks like everything that happened at the CIA was the politicians overruling the scientists. The scientists were concluding this came from a lab leak, in all probability. The politicians were overturning them once at 2 in the morning. So that is one of the takeaways from this, is that, yes, follow the science and the scientists, and that the scientists need to not have a conflict of interest. Which leads me to the final point I'll make before we conclude. I applaud the Trump administration for an executive order saying no more gain of function. It is head and shoulders above anything. The Biden administration really didn't do much of anything on this. The Trump administration is trying to live by that. The reason it won't work forever is that people who have a Weasley way with words, let's say Anthony Fauci, will come back into play, and half of his lieutenants probably still work over there. One of them will get in power again, and all they will simply say is, oh, creating that new virus that grows 10 times faster and grows better in human cells, oh, that's not gain of function. Because that's what Anthony Fauci was doing. He was still doing the gain of function research. He was just saying, oh, the way I look at the definition, that's not really. So we do need a commission. And what I propose is the Risky Research Review Act. There'll be a presidential commission. It'll have scientists on it. They will be experts, but they will not be currently in the employ of government competing for grants. I think that is a conflict of interest. They have to be people outside of it. There also will be some people who are national security experts as well. And we have to look at the list of things. One scientist, Dr. Esfeld, ordered off the internet under Biden's policy. He ordered snippets of DNA from here and here, chopped them up, put them together, and he made the Spanish flu. Now, he told the FBI he was doing it because he wanted to prove a point. He didn't create the infectious portion of the Spanish flu. But he said, look, I can do it by just ordering DNA. So there are a lot of things that have to be addressed. And unfortunately, it's somehow a partisan issue, and we're not getting anywhere. But I want to applaud you for your courage in coming forward. You did come forward at the response of a subpoena. That is a lawful subpoena, and I see no reason that anyone should try to punish you. If anybody does try to punish you, I can promise you that we will defend you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Senator.
Meeting's adjourned. Thank you. Nope. I would like to thank our witness for joining us here today to share his testimony and expertise with the committee. The record for this hearing will remain open until 5 p.m. on Wednesday, May 13th, 2026, for the submission of statements and questions. For the record, the hearing is now adjourned. Thank you.
I will admit, there ain't a damn bit of this that we already didn't fucking know. That there ain't a fucking bit of it that we already did not know in any way. What, a CIA whistleblower came out and said, yes, this is a fucking thing. It took you a year. What, a year and a goddamn half, year and a half to come out and say, yeah, everything we thought was a goddamn truth? Because you worked on it? When will you admit that your fucking government levies war on you? And they're just testing what they can get away with. I hate to take it to that note for the end. But I'm serious with it. I really am. Oh. There we go. I mean, seriously. Yep, here we go. We knew every single fucking bit of this. There wasn't a bit of this that we already didn't. We have literally gone through every goddamn conspiracy theory about everything that you fucking said. Again, what was the point of this? Because some dude on the inside said, yeah, you motherfuckers are right. What do I do with that? Okay, cool. Just strike one up for the good team, I guess. Can we move the fuck on? What are we going to do about it? Why is this still being discussed? The lab leak theory is still being discussed. Damn near every... Unless you are fucking retarded as shit, there ain't no goddamn way in fuck you think that somebody licked the asshole of a bat and coronavirus happened. There's no fucking way. Everybody knows this shit happened. But yet, because a CIA motherfucker said it now, oh, we gotta believe it. I mean, didn't fucking Jon Stewart his goddamn self walked up on fucking camera and told Stephen Colbert, hey, I mean, the Coronavirus Institute, this thing is a coronavirus, maybe there's a thing. And the dude was excoriated for it. That is literally common sense 101. We call it coronavirus. They say it came from a coronavirus lab. Maybe, just maybe, we have a... Nope. Nope, it's racist if you do that because somebody licked the asshole of a bat. I mean, that was a joke, right? Can we move the fuck on from this point? Do you understand that this was a weapon against the people of the United States for you to do what they want you to fucking do? Can we have that argument yet? I'm fucking begging you, America, can we have that argument yet? I don't know how many times I had to prove it to you. 10 fucking years we've been in this same goddamn cycle of stupid shit. And here we are. Can we admit the ones that you elect levy war on you to keep fucking power to decide however the fuck you live? Meanwhile, they do the exact opposite every goddamn time? Oh, I believe all women, right? But members of Congress seem to be raping women. And if you believe all women, no, you need to shut the fuck up because this slush fund needs to happen. I can do this all day. But what I will say is this is absolutely 100% duh. We already knew. Can we move the fuck on and you do something about it? Holy goddamn shit. Here we are 6 fucking years later and yeah, what you're saying is true. If Fauci is a dick, he did lie. Okay, cool. Meanwhile, Mayorkas didn't do high crimes and misdemeanors because a dereliction of duty is not the actual fucking argument, and I swear to fucking God, a dereliction of duty is not a misdemeanor because it's not jaywalking, and it's not a high crime because he didn't commit genocide. So everything between jaywalking and genocide, you cannot impeach for. I can track every bit of that through every fucking committee hearing for Mayorkas's impeachment. You dumb motherfuckers missed every bit of that let Chuck Schumer walk the fuck in and say you do agree that he did not jaywalk, and you do agree that he did not commit genocide, so therefore it is not high crimes or misdemeanors. Suck my dick. Every goddamn one of you missed it. Anyway. We already know. Can we move the fuck on? This is the goddamn Senate. This is the 100 motherfuckers that represent every goddamn state. Every fucking state has 2 of these goddamn dickheads who were literally stuck 6 goddamn fucking years ago. Just to say, yeah, we did some fucked up shit to you. Suck my motherfucking dick, America. That took an awful turn right there at the end, did it not? But is it not true? Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to head on over to, let's go to third verify. We need to decompress from this shit. We already knew. What set me the fuck off is you motherfuckers think that any of this is the truth. Any of this is anywhere near real, like we didn't know beforehand. Why did this exist? Ladies and gentlemen, I appreciate the shit out of every single fucking one of you. We're going to do another one tomorrow. This one's going to be members only. And we definitely going to do another members only Sunday, because I want to fuck around after we got our little event Sunday. But we got 2 members only coming up. I appreciate the shit out of every single fucking one of you. Y'all have a good night. Go decompress with our crazy Canadian friend. We'll see you again later.
And y'all don't know that I'm a soldier. I always felt like I'm alone when everybody thinks they know ya. And y'all don't even know I own ya. And now I'm ready taking over, 'cause every day I'm getting closer. Just look at everything I'll show ya. And now I'm ready, I'ma blow up.